There's a war taking place on Britain's streets.
Some people do genuinely hate the police. I don't think they realise that underneath this uniform there's skin and bone and a person.
On one side are embattled police officers defending the thin blue line.
Put the knife down! Now!
On the other are thugs with no respect for the law.
Policing is more dangerous now than it's ever been, and that level of animosity from a hardcore of individuals out there is something that I don't think we've seen before.
In the UK, a police officer is now attacked every 17 minutes.
We are probably more likely to be assaulted than any other public service.
And violence has reached unprecedented levels.
A lot of people nowadays are more than happy to challenge authority and go that extra step.
But our coppers have a unique tool to help them keep safe. An emergency button pressed only when they are in extreme danger.
When that button is pressed, you drop what you're doing, you make haste, you get there no matter what.
It sends a signal to every copper in the area and says urgent assistance required.
There's been an acid attack outside McDonald's!
With new, shocking stories, heroes on the front line reveal what it's really like when they come under attack.
There's reasons why people can sleep soundly at night. And if those people are assaulted while they're trying to protect you, that's something that the public should genuinely take seriously.
Say, got a knife, I'm a police officer.
Sharing, in their own words and with their own footage, life and death situations.
Before I could even blink or think, he's punched me in the face twice.
Walk away! Don't forget!
And that's when I've realised it's a really long machete.
My thoughts went to my family and how this was going to affect them.
Police Code 0. Today, told for the first time, a police dog is slashed and stabbed in a sleepy Herefordshire village.
The male was able to start slashing at back his head, and it's something like out of an abattoir. There's blood everywhere.
Is there anything in this car now that you can get in trouble for at all? No drugs or that?
In London, a routine car stop turns into a life-threatening incident.
Get on the car. Get on the car.
I was on top of him in the driver's seat, shouting at him to stop.
There's no way that you could imagine a police officer being dragged off in a car ending well.
And in Northampton, officers are caught in the middle of a late-night fight.
Move away, move away, move away.
What do you want?
They were goading each other for a fight.
7 to 8, there's been an acid attack outside McDonald's.
Between March 2018 and March 2019, the number of assaults on police officers that resulted in an injury increased by 27% to well over 10,000.
It's not part of the job to be assaulted as a police officer or a member of police staff. The people who are being assaulted come to work to want to make a difference to protect people in the community. And quite frankly, from 2018 to 2019, I'm having 2 police officers or police staff assaulted every single day in Humberside.
Compared with 9 years ago, there are over 19,000 fewer police officers. The government have announced a recruitment drive.
Policing is more dangerous now than it's ever been. I feel it, I see it, I speak to officers, I go on patrol, and that level of animosity from a hardcore of individuals out there is something that I don't think we've seen before.
In Herefordshire, Mike Davey has been a police dog handler for 24 years.
I was in the army before I joined the police, and at the end of my time in the army, I was thinking, what else can I do? And it's a natural progression for a military to go into the police force.
Having spent such long periods apart when he was in the army, that was going to be a bonus to me. You know, I was going to be at home every day, we're going to sit down and have tea together, and it's going to be fabulous.
Do you not want to keep those, though?
No, really.
What about that one?
No.
Should we send it to your mum?
No.
And in actual fact, you know, it was kind of quite the opposite.
Get it. Oh, good boy. Come on. Good boy. I knew I had to be a dog handler. It was the ultimate job. It's not a way of life, but it's a calling.
Backer has been part of our family for about 6 or 7 years now. You could see that Mike thought Backer was really special.
We could come across anything from a traffic stop right up to a firearms incident. We could be urban 1 minute and right in the middle of nowhere the next minute. Bromyard is a small black and white chocolate box town. There's a couple of pubs, a few Indian restaurants, Chinese restaurants. It's just a small, nice place to live, not somewhere where you would expect something bad to happen. This call comes in at Bromyard. The initial thoughts were that it was a burglary in progress.
There's a break at the paper shop in the High Street. Any details?
The male was smashing the windows of newsagents, so I started making my way there. 2 officers from Leominster made their way as well, which is probably equal distance between the 2 of us.
Yeah, it's 4-4. It's not clear what's exactly going on in this paper shop in the High Street.
They arrived first, literally 30 seconds before I did. Unfortunately, there was no other units close by.
I was in Ledbury. I was in the car, and the call came in of a guy breaking windows on the High Street in Bromyard. It's not the worst thing we go to, but I was aware there was just one single crew in Leominster who would have responded. I had the only taser, so we started making at grade 1.
You're up on the pizza shop, wearing black trousers, puffer jackets, a hood.
Yeah, sorry, which street? I heard that the officers had backed off from the male, and the male had threatened them with a knife and had ran at them.
Delta 1-5, just coming in at Bromyard.
We got about halfway, around Bishop's Froome Way, very rural, and I heard the call of a knife.
I came around the corner. I saw the male to my right. Normally you go to a situation like that, there's lots of bravado, lots of swearing going on, and the person would be giving the police officers a load of abuse, but nobody was saying anything, which I'd never seen before. So my first instance was I would get the dog out of the van. I looked at the officers, they still hadn't come towards me, they weren't saying anything, so I looked at the male, and he produced, Crocodile Dundee style, this huge 10-inch bladed boning knife. Told him to put it down, he refused, told him again, still refused, so I sent Backer. Backer bit the male on the leg. I couldn't believe that the male then was able to start slashing at Backer's head, to hack at Backer's head and around the side of his face with this knife. I then thought, I've got to help my partner. That's what he is, he's my partner, he's my best mate. I didn't know what to do, and then I suddenly thought, well, I've got to get hands on myself. I just knew at that point it's fight or fight. Oh, there was no running away, we had to fight. At some point during that fight, we all broke free of each other. He turned and started to run up an alleyway that was behind him. So we chased him up the alleyway. I pulled my parva, sprayed the male. No effect whatsoever. Sent Backer again. Just as Backer got to him and he was about to bite him, the male bent down and slashed Backer across the left-hand side of his head, cutting straight through his ear. Backer stuttered, ran past him and stood at the top of the alleyway. At that moment I thought, that's it, he's gone. he's going to keel over and die in front of me. If I don't do something, I'm going to die. And I just thought, one more time, backer, hold him. And God bless him, he flew down the alley. If Backer hadn't come round and decided to come back in a second time, I'd be dead. He was shouting, but he wasn't screaming. It was just this guttural growl that never once did he tell us to stop.
I was carrying a taser, and I was aware that the North crew didn't have a taser with them. And anyone with a knife, the taser is a perfect tool for. So I was hoping to get there before anything went wrong. The two things you don't want is get hurt yourself or hear a colleague getting hurt when you can't get to them. So I get quite emotional on that one.
Took Backer off the mail. And literally within a second, he's up and running. And I was stood there and I was thinking, you can't do that.
Hold him! Face! Hold him!
He went back in and bit the mail for a third time. I grabbed hold of the other arm, took him to the floor, and eventually he sort of start to lose the strength to resist us.
Cuffs! Get some fucking cuffs to the floor! Out! Good boy.
My attention was now going to Backer because I knew he was injured. I needed to get him sorted.
Stay still. Don't...
And at that point, I realised I'd been stabbed as well. I'd been stabbed through the right hand. I took a breath and I just said on the radio, I've just been stabbed and so's my dog.
I've been knifed. Okay.
Just when we were about a minute away, I heard Mike shout up on the radio that Backer had been slashed. Followed by Mike saying that he'd been slashed himself.
And there was a tumbleweed moment. All the radio just went totally quiet. And then the next second, everybody in the two force areas, the armed response and the dogs were all coming towards us to give us help.
And just at the end of that transmission, I think we arrived.
Good boy. Right there. Get round there, he's still fighting.
It was a very nasty slash. You could see tendons, you could see bone. Mike was doing his best, but you could tell he was in pain.
So I look in the van and I just see the inside of the van and it's something like out of an abattoir. There's blood everywhere.
Oh, it's a fucking nice cut. Oh, he's fucking hell. Yes.
Oh. And I see his left ear is basically hanging off. And I've got to get him to the vet because, you know, I'm all right. I know I'm hurt, but it's not life-threatening.
I blue-lighted Mike and Backer to Hereford. I was heading for A&E, but Mike made me go to the vets first. If he's come prepared with a number of knives, you've got to wonder what his intentions were. And then you wonder, how close he got to carrying out those intentions.
There was that moment in the alleyway I thought I'd never see the wife or my boys or any of my family and friends again.
The change was in both of them. It was... Mike was quiet.
I was eager to get back to work. I couldn't wait to get back. I'm not one to have time off. But I was not in a good place.
He got up one Monday morning, he went off to work, I was at home, and about 2:30 in the afternoon, he arrived home and he cried.
You don't want to admit there's something wrong, but there comes a point where I realised that I needed help because I didn't like who I was. I wasn't right.
And he needed to be able to talk that side of the whole situation. And thankfully, that's what he did.
Fair dues to the police. They got me some psychiatric help, had a load of sessions with a psychologist, and it cleared my head, and I thank them wholeheartedly for that. I've got a new job, but Backer has permanently retired, and he's enjoying it.
Backer's unrelenting devotion to duty makes him a very worthy recipient of PDSA's Gold Medal.
Backer deserved everything he got. He was just a truly amazing dog, the way he worked through what happened to him.
In 2019, West Mercia Police recorded over 37,000 violent crimes, an increase of over 4,000 reported incidents from the year before. As police nationally are called to more violent crimes, the chances that they could become victims of violence themselves increases.
I get a real sense that policing is far more unpredictable than it's ever been before. And I believe now the public, the media, politicians have never been more aware than the level of violence our colleagues are facing than they've ever been before.
The numbers that we're currently facing are not just affecting police officers, it's happening for the health service, doctors, nurses, ambulance drivers, paramedics, firefighters. This isn't just a police problem, this is a societal problem, and we have to say enough is enough.
In South London, PC Nick Morley is part of the Met's Territorial Support Group.
I am a TSG officer. We are public order specialists, so we would do the policing for all the marches and if there's a riot or something like that. We go around in bigger vehicles, carriers which can hold up to about 8 or 9 people. That's one aspect that I do enjoy, is that you're with a larger group of people, probably like-minded.
Yeah, just get out there, those 2 of you, please, and the other 2 stay on, just in case.
Yeah, that's fine. Turn the engine off and join me on the pavement now. We also do the bulk of the Met stop and search. Over it, please. This exact area, just stabbing up the road tonight. An inspector at the police station is giving us authority to search people, OK? Yeah. As a TSG, we get bid for by a borough who has a serious issue. And we go to those areas and we would look to stop and search people.
The stabbing took place Brixton Hill junction with Holmwood Gardens. We're going to stab you too.
OK.
5:45.
Well, tonight there's been a stabbing in the area we're going to. And because of that stabbing, a Section 60 has been authorised, which means that the police can stop and search individuals. I think it's massively important that we do stop and search, because we need to stop these people carrying these weapons. And if we stop someone with a knife somewhere in London that potentially could be used in a stabbing or a murder later in the day, then you know, we've done something good there.
In Thornton Heath, we get a lot of gang crime. I actually used to live down there. There was a murder outside my house one day, and I woke up to there being a crime scene tape. So I do know the problems that they actually had down there, personally. And you can see it every day. There's robberies on the briefings. It's quite a challenging borough.
We were in the unmarked car. So there was 4 of us in it. You had Emil and Sophie were the 2 passengers in the back of the car, and I was the front seat passenger.
We were sat up just off of Green Lane, I believe, just watching cars go past just to see who was in them and what they were doing. And we noticed a Mercedes A-Class whiz past and go down a residential road that was 20 miles an hour. And he must have been driving in excess of, I'd say 40, 50 miles an hour. He was flying down the road.
We went after it, and we'd caught up to, and he'd pulled over and quite casually got out.
What's that about?
No reason, sorry.
Huh? I asked him why he was speeding, and he said that there was a problem with his Tiptronic in the car. Now, I'm no car expert, so I had no clue what he was talking about.
Huh? My car come up formatic, unavailable. So when I came out, I'm literally just going to my girlfriend's house at the end of the road, sorry.
You've been a clown, mate?
Yeah, I know. My apologies.
Yeah? Have you arrested before?
I literally just going to the end of the road there. I don't know why I've done that. And then when I see you come behind me, I just think, you know, what's this car coming?
You gotta think that if there's a kid crossing the road there, I know it's late at night.
Yeah, I know, man.
But
Jamie Williams, sorry.
He's never been arrested before, but you know it's game over, mate.
Yeah, no, my apologies. Sorry for that.
Yeah? You got any idea in you at all?
In my mind, this was just going to be a sort of a ticking off for a bit of speeding. Tell him to slow down, and that would be it. He'd be on his way.
Just jump up, mate. What are you off at doing tonight?
I'm literally just going to my girlfriend's house at the end of the road.
Yeah? Where are you coming from?
Croydon, my house.
Where do you live?
So I was stood on the other side, kind of having a bit of a look in just to make sure there was nothing there we needed to be concerned about. And so I noticed that in the armrest there was a lot of cash, which is something that we would look at a little bit to some degree, a little bit suspiciously.
Cash? How much cash is in the car, mate? How much?
30 quid.
And I said, OK, it didn't ring any alarm bells for me. I still had no alarm bells ringing with him.
Just your mate's house?
Just coming from a mate's house, sir.
So why's he got... What do you mean?
I just come from a mate's house.
Yeah.
To my girl's. To fill out my wallet. It's in there.
OK. What do you do for work?
I'm a chippy.
You're a chippy?
Yeah.
Cool. Cash in hand?
Cash in hand? No.
No?
I do some self-employed, some employed work.
OK. And is there anything in this car now that you can get in trouble for at all?
No.
No drugs or anything like that?
No.
Sure?
Yeah.
How far?
It's all...
Get out of the car. Get out of the car.
Get out of the fucking car!
The chap got the car into drive and pulled away. He's flown across the road at high speed. There's no way that you could imagine a police officer being dragged off in a car ending well.
I'm doing anything I can to try and make sure I go home at the end of the day rather than end up in a hospital bed somewhere. So the first time we went forward and we stopped pretty much, we probably travelled about 30 to 40 metres initially. Then we came to the abrupt stop. I don't know if it was him or me that pressed the brake.
Well, I've tried to open the door. To anything, just to get the vehicle to stop.
I managed to catch up to him, and I just instantly got out my taser.
Emil attempted to taser the male through the window
The new tasers we got have got 2 cartridges, so I shot him once and there was no effect. So I tried to do it again to increase the spread, but I think a couple of probes went in nick this time, unfortunately for him.
Unfortunately, one of the barbs went into the suspect and one went into my foot, so there was no circuit completed with the taser for it to work.
Taser! Taser!
And Nick's in the car on top of him. The car then pulls away again at speed. None of the tasers have worked at all.
Yeah, you can see the door still open and you can just see Nick.
I remember having quite a clear thought process of, if I don't jump out now, then I'm going to get seriously hurt.
Nick's thrown himself out. He's rolled a number of times up the road. Are you all right? Oh, shit. No.
He was just, I think, completely in shock. Pale, just the classic signs of shock, really. So I quickly called on the radio for other units to come back.
I went to hospital that night and I had a broken wrist and I had quite bad grazing on my right leg where it just had been tarmac burn from the fall.
Well, it was probably one of the few incidents that properly affected me for a few days. Sort of, when it's a colleague you see go through that, it's a bit different.
I was just scared about how injured he was going to be when we got to him. Like, the fact that somebody's got away, these things happen, that can be dealt with at a later stage, but you don't want to see your colleague injured because somebody doesn't want to be dealt with for something they're potentially doing wrong.
He went along the lines of he didn't know we were police officers because we were in plain clothes and he was scared, so he tried to get away when we stopped him with blue lights.
Throughout the whole procedure, he showed no remorse to me. I sat in the courtroom, he didn't look at me. The CPS lawyer was adamant that he was going to get sort of a 3-year prison sentence for the offence. And at the start of the judge's closing speech, I was quite confident that was what was going to happen. He was saying how we need to protect our public servants, and this officer got injured in the line of duty. He was just trying to help people, doing the right thing, and then mentioned the character statement from the defendant's family. And at that point, everything changed. After the sentencing was given in court, his solicitor came up to me and said, would you be willing to go and sit in a room with him? He wants to apologise. And I understand circumstances where people might say yes to that, but I was frustrated at the sentencing, so I refused that. Would I be willing to do it now with him? Probably not.
In 2002, the Met began to record the number of assaults that involved a corrosive fluid. In the year 2017, that number was at an all-time high, with 849 offences.
Certainly what we see now is that level of violence which seems to go one step further. Noxious substances being sprayed in the face with, at the time, an officer won't know what it is, but it can be, acid, ammonia, causes horrific injuries.
Hospital admissions, primarily related to assaults with a corrosive liquid, peaked in 2017. But in 2018, they were still 16% higher than they were 4 years earlier.
I've got acid in this bottle. I might get away with it because I might kid you on, actually it's Lucozade or Coke. And it is that morphing of, actually, if I carry a knife, then if I'm caught with this knife, I'm going to be subject to arrest and the consequences.
The large market town of Northampton nowadays experiences problems once only associated with a big city. That includes attacks involving noxious liquids.
Northampton, it's relatively a small county, quite a rural county, but easy access to London and other cities like Birmingham. I've been a police officer just over 9 years now. It has changed over the years. I mean, our numbers have changed.
When I was little, I read a book, and it was obviously a kid's book about the police, and I saw the uniform and how smart it looked, and I thought, yeah, I want to be a police officer.
Me and Karen have been on the same response team for many years, so we know each other pretty well. Both inside and outside of work, you meet up, and as a team in general, they become almost like your second family.
Things have changed quite a lot. We go to a lot more violent assaults. When I first joined, if you heard over the air that there'd been somebody that had possibly been stabbed, it was like kind of a shock. But now, it's quite a regular occurrence, which is awful and it's a shame, but it's happening. Friday, Saturday nights, we have dedicated police officers in and around the town. When a lot of the bars start to close, a lot of the youngsters will go towards McDonald's on the Drapery to get their food before they go home. So it becomes quite busy and kind of a focal point of, where we need to be or where we need to kind of keep an eye on.
That night, there was no big event on in terms of a famous DJ or anything like that. It was just a normal night.
Just kind of stood back and just watched people laughing and, kind of acting drunk, but not, they were quite jovial.
Inside McDonald's, there was something going on. There was a security staff member that appeared to be having a bit of confrontation with two groups. It was at that point we moved forward to try and assist him.
Come on. Whoa, come on. Right, guys, come on.
We quite quickly realised that it was sort of two young, opposing gangs.
We've tried to separate both groups, one by asking one group to remain in McDonald's while we cleared the other group outside and told them to move on. It's at that point the other group has managed to come out of McDonald's and they've had a second confrontation outside.
Come on, let's move away. Let's stop this now.
They started to move away a little bit and we were sort of left in the middle.
Come on, lads, grow up. Just move away, yeah? Just move away. You're not going to be able to go back in there. You ain't going back in there.
They were goading each other for a fight. They clearly didn't get on, didn't like each other.
You're not going to be able to go back in there, lads.
One in the group that was being particularly verbal and a tool chap went to grab hold of this person.
And all of a sudden, from kind of a few feet away from me, but to the side, I just heard this, like, crackle.
In the corner of my eye, I could see the liquid coming across from my right-hand side.
As I looked round, I saw a Lucozade bottle and a guy holding it. And then literally he just kind of threw it and ran.
Immediate after that, it was the smell or the sensation at the back of my throat of the burning. It was that moment I instantly realised this is an ammonia or an acid attack. I think I said an acid attack.
Whoa! 7 to 8, there's been an acid attack outside McDonald's.
The next minute, there's a guy running from where it had happened, running away at speed. So we've given chase to him.
It was chaos. There were members of the public holding their faces, they didn't know what was going on, they were shouting, screaming.
Water to McDonald's, please, water.
Adrenaline kicks in and you know, she started across the road to go after one of the offenders.
You got it in your mouth. Go to the back.
And then I think she's realised that she's got some in her eyes and can't actually kind of see where she's going or what she's, you know, going after. So she's had to stop.
You could see the concern in her face. I didn't realise it at the time, but I did have my hand sort of wiping what was on my face off.
I'm not going to lie, and I genuinely thought the worst. I thought I was going to pull her hands away and, yeah, it was not going to be a nice sight.
You have the horror stories, don't you, of acid attacks, and where you've seen pictures of people where they've had their skin melted and what have you. So the look of panic on her face was she assumed that's what was happening to me at that point.
Vicky washed her face and we were able to kind of help other people.
Sweetheart, you all right? You all right? Look up, look up. Look up for me. Have you got acid in your eyes? Right, look up. I'll put water in your eyes.
It was amazing how quick everybody got there.
You're right. Burning at all? Yeah, just across there and on my lip.
It's, again, an example of how everybody comes together when it's needed.
Hi, guys.
Being a police officer, you need people, you need your colleagues.
We've caught them through the alleyway after, I guess, what felt like an eternity and stopped all of them. I think there was 4 or 5 at that time. And it transpired none of them were directly involved in the throwing of the acid. They were more the target. And one of the chaps we stopped had been directly affected by the acid to the face, and he did need urgent medical help.
I spotted where the bottle landed, and it was important to make sure that bottle didn't get picked up again, because there was quite a lot of liquid left in it.
Ammonia. Yeah, ammonia. I can smell it in the air as well. I've got the bottle now over by the van. Fantastic.
A bottle was recovered, and the bottle sort of melting from the inside out, which obviously isn't... Well, it's worrying more than anything, because you're thinking, well, what is that on the inside? And it smelled very, very strongly of ammonia.
It's something that will stick with me throughout my career and probably the rest of my life, that it's not something that you'd generally have happen on your day-to-day life.
It's indiscriminate. So I know with this, it didn't matter, or the person throwing the acid didn't care for anybody else that was in the immediate vicinity. the intention is still there to cause somebody significant harm, and that should be reflected. If somebody's willing to do that to people they don't even know, I don't know where that stops in someone's mind. To think that's acceptable is, yeah, it's beyond me.
I'm response officer in West Durham. We cover quite a large area. It's a mixture of rural and urban towns. So you've got from the moors on the west of Concert all the way down to the motorway at Chesley Street. And it's covering all of the 999 calls.
Stu, he's a good friend, both in and out of work. I met him when I started on the shift. He's got maybe a year on top of me in service.
We're really good mates. We have a nickname, Bangers and Smash, for each other. I'm Smash and he's Bangers Anderson. So we spend a fair bit of our time on the sort of country lanes that link the villages up. Used as rat runs for people who maybe shouldn't be using the road and don't want to be caught by anyone, or certainly don't want to be seen doing what they're doing.
It's difficult sometimes to do this job. I think some people do genuinely hate the police. I don't think they realise that underneath this uniform there's skin and bone and a person.
We've been doing a vehicle inquiry in the Ledgate area. We're travelling back. Martin was due off at 11 o'clock.
As we've been driving back towards the station, we've seen a little silver Fiesta pull out of the junction in front of us. Initially didn't think too much of it.
So he's entered the 30-mile-an-hour zone and overtaken the other car in front of us at quite a speed. And I think at that point he's maybe noticed the police car was behind.
We've put the blue lights on, initially thinking that we're going to be in a pursuit. However, no sooner have we put the blue lights on, the car has turned right into a petrol station.
He's pulled over straight away, and me thinking he might run away from the car. I was passenger in our car, so I've jumped out and opened the driver's door and handcuffed the male just to detain him. Just putting these cuffs on you, couldn't detain you.
Right, what for?
Until we find out what's going on, because of what you've just done there.
Because of the overtaking?
Wasn't just overtaking, though, was it?
Yes.
Stu's speaking to the male who's initially compliant. He's a little bit mouthy, but not too much, nothing that we haven't ever dealt with before. You're detained and under arrest.
What for? You've got to tell us what for.
Detained till we find out what's going on and who the car is and everything.
Car's mine.
We'll get him into the back of the police car. LELA 2854.
As Martin did the checks on the radio, I was chatting to him and I could smell alcohol about his person. All right, that's a fresh sealed tube. I've asked him to provide a roadside breath test on the garage forecourt. Seal your lips around the tube, and it's just one long continuous blow until I tell you to stop, OK?
Sure enough, he fills the breathalyzer and he's arrested by Stu for drink driving.
At 22:50, you're under arrest for providing a positive breath test at the roadside.
I'm organising a custody site, and while that's ongoing, Stu's searching him.
You got anything in your pockets at all?
No.
No? No. Just pop it down there. We've searched his jacket, which was empty, and then in his right-hand trouser pocket, I've reached in there and straight away felt something heavy, metallic. I've pulled that out and it's been a knuckle duster. You're also arrested on possession of an offensive weapon for that knuckle duster as well.
He's drink driving. He's now got knuckle dusters on him. You know, what is this lad's intentions?
I've sat him back down in the back of the police vehicle, at which point his attitude's changed.
I'll have me normal belongings back.
No, you won't. You're under arrest.
Can you bag everything up? Do you know what I've got there?
I do, yeah. He's wanted me to count the money that I've placed on top of the car. My main concern is getting him secure in the back of the car. I'm not counting it.
Well, you best do it now, then.
Get yourself in the car.
Best do it now.
Get yourself in the car.
Best do it now.
I've asked him twice, he hasn't done it. I'm getting him in that car regardless, counting His money's the last of my worries at that point.
What's in the car? It's kicking out at Stu. I can't really see what's going on.
I was kicking the chest and the legs. I can't remember how many times he's appeared to be cycling in the air.
My instinct is that I need to get this lad away from Stu because I don't know what's happening. I don't know whether he's managed to get hold of another weapon.
I've grabbed the handcuffs with my right hand. He's immediately pulled my hand in and bit me thumb. So I've naturally pulled away, grabbed it with my left hand. And the next thing I can remember, there's one of his digits in my eye. I've been fish hooked. I'm sort of blur vision in one eye. My thumb's hurting on the other hand.
Get out of the car now!
At that point, the driver's side passenger door's open and Martin's been there.
I physically pull the lad from the vehicle.
Get out of the car!
There was an individual with a mobile phone shoved in our faces. The back of my head, I'm thinking, we've got knuckle dusters on the top of the car. Thinking at any point, is the person that's recording, is he going to put a boot in?
Get out of the car now! What are you doing? It's all on record. No, I've done it all.
I've gone for my radio at that point, but in the melee, it's been knocked off and that's hanging by the earpiece wire.
Get on the car.
He was strong, he was very agile.
Calm down.
It didn't matter what we tried to do on the floor, restraint-wise, couldn't do anything with him. He could just get out of everything.
Calm down. Get your knee off your face now. No, because you're tensing up and you're pulling away. Because you're fucking rhymeless about it.
This person who was just quite happy to film it. He offered no assistance at all. He was taking enjoyment out of two police officers being assaulted, and Stu's radio was clearly hanging from him.
Get the fuck off this.
This lad, you'd think he was greased up. You just couldn't get your hands on him properly. He's lifting his hips, he's lifting his shoulders.
It's going to get petted. Do you want to be petted?
He'd obviously had some sort of fighting groundwork training.
No, no, wait, this come on, lad. Crowd control. You fucking muppet. Scared, aren't you? Fucking little Go on, knees again, you fucking mug.
The handcuffs were pivotal, really, because if we didn't have them handcuffs on him, I don't think we would have been able to keep control of this lad.
What's the stuff on the top of the car?
I'd struck the panic button, the orange button on the radio, and we knew that there was officers travelling towards us.
Stop fucking needing.
Well, stop resisting!
Get on your front! I don't have to, I'm not doing anything. Get the fuck up. God, drag me.
Right, you're going to stay like that until the van gets here.
Get off me fucking neck.
Ellie, at the petrol station.
You fucking take these cuffs off. What are you fucking doing? What's your daft?
He's verbally aggressive. He's kicking his legs out.
Watch me fucking wrist, man. Get off them cuffs now.
Stop resisting then.
Shut the fuck up,
Stay on the floor and stop tensing up.
He managed to turn his head and managed to spit full into my face as well.
Shut up, you fucking muppet. What are you going to do?
Right, you can have an assault PC as well then for spitting.
You got one? No, you've just fucking bashed me. Get off them cuffs, mate. Get off them fucking cuffs.
Right, bite me.
Get off them fucking
Do not bite me.
Martin's unfortunately got the top half and I can hear him say, "Don't bite me." So he's obviously using his teeth as a weapon yet again.
Well, fucking that's on you. You sprayed us. I'll spray you again.
Me and Stu somehow managed to change ends, and he was physically biting out at Stu as well.
Fucking get you.
I go to these... choking up. We just cannot pin him down. And then I've drawn me incapacitant spray and delivered a 1 second burst to his face.
Don't breathe! Don't breathe! Don't breathe, monkey! It'll do fuck all!
The bystander, the member of the public, I can see his feet as I'm looking up. He's shouting, "Go on."
Do not breathe, pal! That's it, go on! Nothing to go fuck all, son!
I'm very aware there's a knuckle duster on top of my police car. The headlights pull up onto the forecourt and light the scene up and hear shouting from colleagues, and you start recognise voices because you haven't got time to look up to see what's happening. It's a massive relief.
Jess, the stuff's on top of the car.
Backup arrived, which meant we were able to get a bit of a breather. There was some fresh cops who managed to take control.
It's a bite of mine, dear. One, two, three.
Thinking back, it's one of those situations where my handcuffs were my best friend. If I hadn't handcuffed him straight away, it would have been a completely different outcome.
Right, after three, step in the van, OK?
If you'd been punched in the face, yeah, it's not nice, but after a few days, your bruise is going to be gone. With a bite that's brought the skin, being spat on, you've got to go for tests. Them tests take months to come back, and you've always got it in the back of your mind. You try not to think about it, but every now and again it'll pop up again, and you think, oh, actually, you know, have I going to have contracted something from this person?
In September 2019, the Home Office revealed that there were over 414,000 public order offences in England and Wales, a rise of 9% compared with a year earlier.
One of the risks that we have is if we have many of our officers and staff who are assaulted 2, 3, 4 times in their career, they're going to start to see members of the public, if we're not careful, as a threat, as opposed to people who are the same as us and we just happen to wear a uniform.
It is a world that some people live in where they think it's acceptable to threaten and be aggressive. And sometimes, actually, some of the role models of these, I'm going to say, younger people aren't as positive as they should be.
I grew up in a small town, a bit like Scunthorpe, really, and went into the forces. So, not in a cocky way, but I've been around, seen and done it, you know, and I thought coming into this job, I was pretty worldly wide, really. Wow, no, I had no idea what I was letting myself in for. It's totally not what I thought it would be. Small pockets of the public, how they speak to you, there's no respect for the police. It was a massive eye-opener for me, real eye-opener.
When I joined at 18, I didn't really have any expectations of how I would be viewed by the public or what people would think of me.
Indeed. Me and Kaylee, we've been friends 7 or 8 years. We just fell together.
We spend a lot of time out of work together, go on holiday together and walk the dogs together. We're close. Emma is a brilliant police officer. There's nothing that she won't face. What you see is what you get, you know, salt of the earth sort of person.
So I saw 2 chaps up here. It was a couple of months ago now. It was sort of like the dead of night, and I was driving along. There's 2, and I saw one slip something to the other one, and I thought, I'm nailed on. It's definitely a drug deal. And I got out, and it was a chocolate bar.
Ashby is about a mile from Scunthorpe town centre.
It's almost like a little town within a town, if that makes sense.
It's got its own sense of community, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has really, Ashby, yeah.
More so than any of the other wards. It's got its own sort of identity.
I've been in homicide now about 12 and a half years. Before, I was a police community support officer for 10 years. covering the same area as Scunthorpe. I was double crewed with Emma that day in a van, and we got called to a job. And while we was in the area, we received a couple of calls on our radio to say, oh yeah, the male you're looking for is on a certain street in Ashby. The male has been seen with a machete. He's got a bit of wood and he's possibly had some nunchucks or some chains or something like that. The male was known to Emma.
Yeah, it's him, yeah. XHX31. Can you just get another unit to come down here, please?
Emma got on the radio and just said, can another unit just start making the way down there? He's got a stick, mate, just be careful.
Come over here, come here, I want to speak to you.
Given the people on the street, we decided to kind of like walk him away from everyone so we could have a chat with him.
They were goading him a little bit, you know, scaring him almost. You know, the police are coming to take you away, you better start running, that kind of thing. I'm just taking you away from all this group, that's all.
Yeah,
all right,
okay. Lovely. Do you know what?
We'd managed to take him away, you know, just so what we were doing and discussing with him was in private. We could take the weapons from him safely.
Listen.
Right, listen to me, listen. Just because you've got all this on, I'm listening to you.
I'll take off.
On you.
No, lovely.
All right.
Emma took the bit of wood off him and I could clearly see something on his waistband, 2 bits of wood and a bit of chain.
Go on, just go.
Unfortunately, a group of the males decided to follow us. They was really goading him. I could hear people shouting for him to sort of like grab us. They were telling him to run. And it was at that point there I decided I needed to push my button. As soon as we literally physically put a hand on him, it just went off.
Calm down.
It was just carnage. I couldn't really give updates over the radio to let them know what was going on.
It just literally happened in seconds.
He was in a garden. We managed to kind of like corner him almost. He pulled the nunchucks from his trousers and he was actually swinging them. I could hear them. I could hear them shouting. I'm going to swear now as well, but I could hear them shouting like, you know, fucking smack her, hit her, she's a fucking slag.
Mate, get off me.
There must have been 5 or 6 people around us trying to pull the male away from me, just trying to stop us doing our job.
We actually had hold of him then. We took him across the road.
Get off me!
Again, this crowd closed in around us. I was actually quite scared.
Hey, but you need to move back now!
It became quite apparent to the officers who was arriving. It was just a full-scale public order situation.
There were police cars everywhere. There were people all over the shop, ranging from like middle-aged people down to small children. They were shouting, swearing, music blaring. It was just chaos like I've never known.
What the fuck are you doing? Why are you doing that to me? Move away! I've told you! Move away now! Move back! Move.
Even the ones who was not necessarily involved in trying to stop us from arresting the male, I think they were just carried away in the moment. It was... That's all I could describe it as. I don't even know why they're so angry.
Move back!
Stop pushing it!
Move away! Move away now!
Don't fucking push me!
Move away or you'll get lost! Move back!
Hold his head!
Emma took the male down to the police van with a couple of others. I thought it was probably at that point my opportunity to go speak to her, check she was safe, and ask her what the hell had gone on.
There was her in the white top and her in the peach. They were physically pulling me back when I had hold of him, trying to obstruct. Yeah. They were telling him to like hit us and stuff, you know. We was able, myself and James, to identify the perpetrators. One of them being this female in the peach tracksuit.
You're all a bunch of wankers, you actually are. Do your jobs properly.
We are, thank you.
Do your jobs properly.
He was the one that was grabbing her, pulling her, obstructing her, and basically she was the real problem. Armed with this knowledge, I've gone to effect an arrest.
Daily, this one.
She knew exactly what was coming, and as soon as I've put hands on her, she's then taken her a chance and pulled from my grip. She was much bigger than I am, and ginned me.
Just watch everyone else. Just watch them.
Between us all, we took her to the floor in like a control movement.
I had a few seconds of, you know, deer in the headlights, what's just gone on.
I felt quite bad because, like, she's like one of my friends, and it was me who'd pointed out this female, saying, you know, she was causing me problems. So Kaylee's gone to assist me, and obviously took a punch in the face for her efforts.
Tell you what, I swear to God, you fucking put right. Move back, or you'll get locked up.
I went back to Emma. Right, who's next, Emma? And she identified another female, again distinctive, with sunglasses and, you know, a distinctive jacket, and said she'd done the same.
I still don't understand why they wanted to get involved and why they did. Then it suddenly escalated.
Keep it on. You're under arrest for obstruct police.
Once those two females have been arrested, it's all about trying to restore the peace, trying to get everybody calm again, you know, to reduce the noise and the arguments and everything else.
Right, are you going to calm down?
Yes, I'm calm.
Right, OK.
I'm calm. All right, I'm
just have a look at his cuffs for me,
I really am sorry.
There were a lot of us, and it's then important to learn when to withdraw, because our mere presence can then aggravate people. I felt quite a lot of discomfort and swelling to this side of my face. All that night, my neck was starting to seize up. You know, credit to her, it was a good punch. And yeah, it did cause quite a bit of discomfort for a couple of days.
I think it was a bit of entertainment for them. You know, just the way they were goading the male, the things they were saying to us. Yeah, I think it was a bit of sport for them, a bit of entertainment. The sentencing for the female that assaulted Kaylee is a joke, ridiculous. What's £50? It's nothing, is it? It's not even about the money, the compensation. It's just they need to send out a clearer message. You can't just go around smacking police officers, paramedics, you know, emergency workers. You can't do it. It's not, you know, we were called there to do our job and it was just uncalled for.
I think it's really important after an incident that we engage with the community again, because like I say, it's not all of that street. Not everybody was out for blood, not everybody hates the police. You know, there's some really nice, honest, decent people down there. I think it's so important that we build those bridges and let them know that we are still here for them.
In the year 2018 to 2019, nearly 9,500 people joined the police in England and Wales, the highest number for 10 years. After taking into account people leaving the force, in real terms, it was only an extra 766 officers. But the government have announced they want to recruit 20,000 new officers before 2023.
The announcement of the government very recently, 20,000, is very welcome, and that will have a really significant impact. But in my mind, there isn't a doubt that under austerity and those reducing numbers, there will have been occasions where officers have been alone.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. That's it. Get on the floor now! Get on the floor! Get on the floor! Get on the floor now! Get off me! Get up! Put it down! Put it down!
It's a really tough job. It's got its challenges. You will encounter things that you shouldn't encounter. You will have to deal with things that nobody should have to deal with. You enter people's lives, sometimes at the most traumatic that they've ever been through. But you also have to accept that you will face some real hostility, some violence.
Violent crime has been steadily rising in London. The Met Police recorded over 215,000 incidents in 2018 to 2019, a rise of over 13,000 on the year before.
You all right? You have to call. Hey, go. What is radio?
I need an ambulance now. I've been stabbed with machete.
You need help? Hurry up!
PC Stuart Oughton has been patrolling London for over 10 years.
With Waltham Forest comes every sort of crime that you can find across London. If it happens in London, it will happen at some point in Waltham Forest. I joined as a very fresh-faced 19-year-old back in 2009, and when you're going into someone who's in their maybe mid-40s, they've got 3 children, one of them's the same age as you or something, and you're going in there and telling them how to live their life and how to change their ways. It's an extremely steep learning curve. It's definitely changed me, and it's probably changed me permanently. We'd only started at 10 o'clock that night. Nothing much was happening on the radio. Me being traffic orientated, I was looking around for any road-based offenders and considering my dinner options later on in the night, so a perfectly normal night shift to begin with. Approaching midnight, this van was 17 years old. It was a 52 plate. And this is down Leighton High Road where there's no warehouses, no industry. No one needs a white van at that time of the night, so it immediately raises suspicion. Run it through PNC, and it just flashed up as no insurance. So I put on my blue lights and my two-tone, signalled this vehicle to stop. The driver didn't get out of the van. I could just hear muffled voices of my colleague trying to talk to him through the window.
Come round. You need to come round.
And then the brake lights have gone on, and then the vehicle started to drive away.
No, he's going.
I've called up on my radio channel that the vehicle's starting to make off, and we start a very slow speed pursuit. We didn't get no more than 25 miles an hour. So it wasn't going that far before he stopped, maybe no more than 300-400 metres down the road, just underneath Leighton Midland train station.
Stand by
He's got out of the vehicle and walked between my vehicle and his and was just looking at me, shouting at me. I couldn't really hear what he was saying, so I got my colleague to get him over to the path.
Sir, come here. Sir, come here. You're gonna knock me down. Sir, come over here. Sir, what do you want? Come over here. I'll speak to you. I'll tell you what I want. Sir, come here and I'll speak to you. What do you want? Don't believe you got any insurance on the vehicle. Is it your vehicle? What do you want? I don't think you got any insurance on your vehicle.
I got out of my van. He was already walking back towards his van door.
Where have you got? No, you're not going. Sir, you're not going. Have you got?
Hello? What do you want? You've got no insurance on your vehicle, sir. Could you move away? Where are you going? Could you move away? Where are you going? Move away. Join me on the pavement, please. Where are you going? Move away.
He's just reached over to his door and tried to close it, which has just bounced off my leg.
You're not driving away, sir. You're not driving away.
And before I could even blink or think, he's punched me in the face twice.
You're not driving away, sir. Move away.
Don't you dare.
I'd call it almost a sucker punch. It was enough to feel it and to know that it wasn't an accident. I then start to arrest him for assault on police. I tell my colleague standing just off to my left to call for more units.
More units. Get more units now.
More units.
And as I grab him, because he starts trying to get between his seat and the van wall to get into the back, and I grab him with both hands, so my radio falls to the floor, and me and him start having a bit of a scrap inside the driver's area of his van.
You're under arrest for assault, police. Don't have the same thing, mate. Potential steal, mention, question, touch, like, running court. Anything you do, so may have given evidence. You're about to be. You're about to be.
He's trying to get back there and reach for something. Obviously, I can't see what it is.
Stop fighting. Stop resisting.
And he's broken free of my grip and leant across. And then he started hitting me with something and grunting as he's hitting me. At that point, I wasn't really concentrating on what he was hitting me with. I realised it was hurting, but I was still trying to grab him and drag him out until I realised that my head is getting really wet really quickly. I was bleeding a lot. So I've kind of focused in on his right hand, and that's when I've realised it's a really long, quite rusty-looking machete. It's almost like in the action movies where everything goes to slow motion and then it's, oh wait, that's machete and that's been hitting me. I backed away to draw my taser, and as I backed away, he's been following me at the same pace, if not quicker, than I'm backing away from him. And he's still swinging, slicing, chopping. He's going for me, and at that moment, if I don't stop him, he'll kill me. I've drawn my taser. As I've fallen, I've fired. And he falls down next to me. If I pass out through loss of blood, I can't keep that taser going, and then he might get up and finish what he started. So it's down to me to keep the button pressed, to keep the electricity going, to keep him on the floor until my colleagues turn up. My colleague managed to discard the knife somewhere away and then kept that knife secure whilst I kept the suspect on the floor.
Hold him! Hold him, officer!
I've noticed my radios by the van, so I've shouted at some members of the public who were there.
Get my radio! Get my radio!
They've managed to pass me my radio and not even looking at what channel I'm on or what's going on. I've just pressed the talk button and I've just asked for an ambulance.
Give it to him. Radio. I need an ambulance now. I've been stabbed with machete.
I'm trying to. Hurry up! Shut up! He's stabbing. Officer, you need help.
But it's when I'm looking on the floor and I'm almost watching a steady stream, almost like an open tap, pouring off my own head. That's when I realise that I am in a fair amount of trouble. And the blood's pouring down my face and all I can smell is the iron content in my own blood. And that's kind of, that smell, I remember because that's when I kind of realised that I am in a fair amount of bother and I kind of need to get some help. Because I've done as much as I can, I need some assistance now.
You need help?
We had a couple of members of the public came over to me and they were doing their best to try to stem the flow of blood from me, that they're going to step in and help those who protect them, they're going to protect the protectors, so to speak. That electricity arcing through him, and then I can hear the sirens of my colleagues turning up. I don't know how long I was there for, but felt like an eternity, but it was probably only 15, 20 minutes before they got me in the back of the ambulance and carted me off to hospital. Once on the back of the head, just above the scalp, twice along the hairline, one on the forehead, one above my left ear and one above my right ear. The one above the left ear managed to fracture the skull and sever an artery. And then as I've been drawing taser, I believe that's when he's got me several times on my hand and arm, fracturing fingers and severing a couple of tendons that control the fingers. The injury on my head was the worst, but the injury that did the most damage was my hand. There's a solid 8 weeks where I couldn't close my right hand. If I tried to, I'd have snapped a tendon and I'd have gone back to square one. And then once I could even make a fist, then I've got nearly 8, 12 weeks of muscle wastage in an arm where I've not been able to do anything, and I've had to rebuild the muscle and even almost retrain the fingers to make the same movements of what they did beforehand. It's a very slow process.
In Hampshire, Officer Nicholas Tucker has been a sergeant for over 17 years. To relax outside work, he started to teach his daughter to drive.
Okay, you ready? All right, let's go.
I served in the Air Force and I was due to get posted. I didn't want to move out of Hampshire, and so I decided to change career. Okay, so when we reach this roundabout, we're going to go straight ahead. I have a massive sense of right and wrong, and I think for me, the police force was a natural progression. I've missed a lot of birthdays, weddings, parties. It's obviously if our children are ill, then taking time off work at very short notice can be difficult. We have a responsibility, we have a caseload. People rely on us.
We have been practicing for a long time, though, haven't we? Yeah. Because I've been drilling it into her for quite some time, and even when she was 16, we were driving along, identifying road signs, hazards. Okay, we're going to go right at these traffic lights.
I take my work home with me all the time. It's my sense of responsibility. So yes, you can't leave it behind because so many people rely on you. The attitude towards the police has changed significantly in my 23 years service. People will put their hands on police officers and try and prevent them from doing their job. And I see that more and more. I'm a sergeant on the roads policing unit. I oversee a team of 8 officers. Our primary role is to attend collisions.
to keep the strategic road networks open. Hampshire is a predominantly rural force. However, we have high population areas, one of those being Southampton city centre. The violence we come across is mostly alcohol-induced. We do have a lot of pubs and clubs, and unfortunately where you have alcohol and you have a large number of people, you will have violence. It was a Saturday evening. It was what we call a red weekend, which we anticipated a high number of people out in Southampton. I was actually on my way back to Tottenham Police Station, and I heard over my car set there was some kind of large public order incident happening in the town centre. I activated my blue lights, my sirens. I drove up to the town centre above bar and parked where I believe the incident was happening. I was the first one to arrive. So I got out the car and I just remember just a melee, just people running up the high street, people screaming, people shouting. And I remember looking up ahead of me and seeing a guy just throwing punches. My first thought was, you're on your own. I need to deal with this. Just get on with it. As soon as I identified him, I went over and spoke to him with a view to arresting him.
Gents, come here. Come here, Chief.
I don't know what's just happened, yeah?
OK, just talk to me for a minute, all right?
I just wanted to calm the situation down. So I thought I'd do that with my verbal communications and try and talk him down first.
Mate, I'm honestly, I'm going to talk to you in a sober, sensitive manner.
Yeah.
OK, honestly, look at me in the eye.
Yeah,
I'll look you in the eye.
Yeah, just give me 2 secs.
I'm not even drunk.
Yeah, OK.
Unfortunately, another member of the public stepped in from behind me. I think he said something like words to the effect of, yeah, mate, you started all this.
Hey, you was on starting. You was on starting.
What do you mean I was the one starting?
Right, Chief.
Who are you?
As a response to that, he just flared up. Another gentleman without his shirt on and then tried to take him away from me. I went up and challenged him.
Gents, hey, Chief.
He said, I'm taking him home. I think my response to that was, no, you're not, mate, he's getting nicked. And with that, I got hold of his arm.
Chief, don't push him.
What the fuck are you doing?
Don't push him away, pal.
I can't.
The situation then became more volatile.
Right?
Fucking stop it. No,
hey,
you're going to get nicked.
Get off me. Don't touch me, right?
No, you're going to get nicked. Please, bro. Can we stop? Can we stop it?
No, you shut up.
Shut up.
Chief, come here.
I'm going home. I'm going home. Shut up. Fuck off. Shut up.
Right, mate.
No, bro, please.
Right? I needed to gain control of the situation, and the way I was going to do that was withdraw my taser. I turned my head to the left in order to draw my taser out.
Please, please. Run! Run! Come here, mate.
I felt an excruciating pain to the right-hand side of my face. It was a pain I'd never felt before. It felt like my head had just exploded. I lost all my senses.
What's happened? What's happened?
I just remember saying to myself, Nick, you're seriously hurt. I knew I was on my own, I was vulnerable, and I needed help. Excuse me. I needed help. My first thought was I had to hit my emergency button.
Are you okay?
I fumbled for my radio and fumbling for the emergency button. My vision was blurred, so I was feeling my way around the radio.
Wait, are you awake? What's happened? I'm a nurse. What's happened? What's happened?
I hit the emergency button, but I don't remember the radio vibrating, and I couldn't see the red screen flashing, which is an indication that somebody's hit their emergency button. And I just kept on pressing that emergency button because I needed help.
When you hear the 1010 button pressed, it's always a bit of a shock because the radio's patter's been going on and on and on, and suddenly you get the beep, 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 beep. The control room were very confused. They were trying to check who was where and what was going on. And then we got the call that it was over in the centre of Southampton. So I shot off in my unmarked police car.
Right, mate, can you take salt?
I remember hearing a load of screaming. I think I heard somebody shout, "He's just hit a fucking copper." Confusion, chaos, lots of shouting. And lots of pain. For a few minutes, I was just completely dazed. I didn't know what was going on.
Oh.
Oh, no, don't you
Right, he's not bleeding. He's not bleeding in the ears. He's not bleeding. Okay,
I knew I'd taken a severe blow to my head. I didn't know where the offenders were. I didn't know how many there were. And yeah, it was a very lonely and scary place to be.
He's not bleeding in the ears. What's your name, darling?
It's Nick.
Nick? Nick, can you tell me where we are?
Yeah.
Where are we?
Southampton.
Okay, well done. Right, okay. Get hit on the head, darling.
It was probably a couple of minutes into the incident when they finally worked out that it was 2883, and obviously I recognised my sergeant's collar number. When anything happens to a direct colleague, it's just got that little bit more impact on you. I knew at that time that my jaw was broken.
We're nursing. Right? We're nursing. We know what we're doing. So what's your hair?
Hands in the door.
Right, can you lift your hand? Okay, you're not bleeding. You're not bleeding there. Can you lift your other hand and let me try?
There were two young ladies there who were on a night out, and they identified themselves as nurses.
Let me check. Right, you're not bleeding.
No, I know, it's a door.
Okay, you're not
bleeding. It's a door.
Right, which is the main thing. The main thing is you're not bleeding, okay? You just stay down, you stay calm.
They knelt down next to me. I could hear them talking. I couldn't really see. I couldn't see out of one of my eyes, and the other one was blurred. But I could hear the voices quite clearly around me. The pain was phenomenal. My nose was streaming. There was blood coming out my mouth, and unfortunately, one of the nurses, unbeknown to her, she obviously wanted to look into my eyes because I'd been concussed, and she wanted to check my pupils. Unfortunately, she got hold of her hand and put it on my cheek and pulled my eyelid down to look into my eyes. And what she didn't know at the time was that my cheekbone was fractured in 3 places.
So it was very painful. And unfortunately, she did it several times.
Has anyone got something to alarm about? Lie in the bar. Right, lie in the bar.
When I first heard sirens, it was a massive relief for me. I knew my colleagues were on my way. Some of that vulnerability went. I knew I was getting the help. I knew people were coming to my aid and assistance. It was a massive relief to hear them sirens. It felt like an age from the time of the incident to when I heard that first siren.
He's not bleeding anyway.
He was clearly in a lot of pain.
I'm hoisting the door. I'm hoisting the door. Smash over the head. He's not bleeding, but his speech is slurred. But he's not bleeding anyway. But he's obviously going. Oh, can I check it so I can check his sleep? I know.
He couldn't speak. He was dribbling. You know, it's so far removed from the person that I knew. It was just awful.
Can we check your pupils?
I knew I had my body-worn video running, so even though I couldn't talk, I remember unclipping my body-worn video off my body armour and thrusting it at one of the officers.
Sergeant, we're just going to wait for the ambulance, yeah? Okay. There's no blood in his feet and You're doing really well, done. Okay, yeah, well done.
I was handed Nick's body-worn video, and I just wanted to do something useful. I wanted to help in some way. Nick was being tended to by other officers.
Don't touch his door, he's broken his door. Oh, I'm going to set them apart.
Can you go to the description, Street Passes are retired got someone in the back of his van.
I decided that I'd go and take his body-worn video to the police station immediately in order that we could download it and hopefully see what had happened and who the offender was.
I was taken to hospital where I was seen by a consultant, and I remember him talking to the chief superintendent that was beside my bed, and one of the first things he said was, "Are you sure he wasn't hit with a weapon?"
Hiya, can I have a hot chocolate, please?
No problem. Just simple hot chocolate, or do you want the...
simple one, please.
Yeah, just as it is.
Thank you.
No problem.
I found going home very traumatic. Whilst my wife was with me at the hospital, going home and seeing my 13-year-old daughter was horrible. She broke down in tears, and it really scared her. She burst into tears. It was horrible. It was horrible seeing my daughter like that. The maximum sentence you can get for a Section 20, which is a GBH without the intention, is 5 years. So there is a big difference. So whilst the 20 stops at 5 years,
The GBH with intent, the Section 18, starts at 7. If he behaves himself whilst in prison, he will only serve half of that sentence. For me to continue as a police officer, I can't avoid situations where we don't get the choice of whether we go to a job or whether we don't. You know, we are here to protect the public, so if a job comes in, I have to go. So I can't avoid this place, I have to come back here. Next time I come back here, it's not going to look like this. It's going to be busy. The pubs, the clubs are all going to be busy. There's going to be a lot of drunk people around. There's going to be a lot of people that want our help and assistance. A lot of people want protecting, but I've also got to deal with those people that are intent on violence.
Criminologists have been studying crime patterns to try and establish if the phenomenon of seasonal crime trends actually exists. There is some evidence that points towards more crime being reported during the summer months.
Put it down. Put it down. Take that!
Lots of clever people do research on when police officers are more likely to face violence. Violence is a strange thing because different type of violence at different times of the year. So during the summer period, you know, when people are out later in the evening, drinking more, more sociable, then you can get a different type of violence on the street.
If you look at how that violence levels fit into overall police demand, it also follows that tends to follow a pattern. This time of year, in the sort of January, February, March, April time, you will find that calls to police services are generally down. They peak up high in the summer months, round about the August time. There is a drop down into sort of late September, October before we see a rise again around Christmas and New Year.
In Durham, assaults on police officers in 2018-2019 had increased to over 500 for the year.
Durham, lovely place to work. You've got the cathedral, you've got the castle. It's just, you know, very tourist orientated as well. The university's there, so there's a lot of students within Durham. You've got your nightlife there, so every day is different because obviously you've got your pubs and your clubs as such. There's parts that are rural, and then you've got villages, and then you've got little towns as such, and Peterlee.
Karen's police colleague's identity has been concealed for operational reasons.
Karen, for all the time I've been there, has also been based out of Durham City. She's an experienced cop that's been in the job for years and years. She's a great person, yeah, she's bubbly, she's a laugh. It's quite loud, but she's a good and a nice person, yeah.
I was actually working Peterlee that day on a 5 till 1 shift. And, you know, everyone says Merry Christmas to each other because it's Christmas Day.
It's the first Christmas Day that I've actually worked. There was other people that had families that didn't want to be working for Christmas. And so I said, yeah, I'm happy to do that.
We got an immediate incident come in whereby there was what we call a dropped-out 999er, where somebody's rang 999, please help, and then the phone's gone down. We've traced that number back, and then we've been sent to that incident. So en route, we've got no idea of what we're actually going to.
Checks on the landline, and it came back to a cafe inside the bus station at Peterlee. So we spun the car around and we went to it. As I approached the door, I could hear quite a bit of shouting, and there was obviously something going on inside.
Wait, watch out. I can hear commotion coming from inside.
Has this guy got in?
What we're met with initially is a group of people who've been at the cafe having their Christmas dinner and a Christmas party. You know, obviously had a drink, it's Christmas Day, people do.
It was quite hard initially to understand what had gone on. Everybody was shouting, everybody wanted to speak to us, everybody wanted to tell us something, but everybody wanted to do it at the same time.
Just calm down a second so we can try and work out what's going on, right?
Fucking clever of you.
Right, listen. Listen.
All right, well, no.
Can we all back off a little bit?
I want that fucking off.
Right. I'll tell you how.
Trying to find out, you know, what's gone on initially.
Where's your son, first of all?
He's gone home. I don't know where he is.
I'll be that much if he's gone home.
Right, listen.
Right, I'll tell you what I did. I'll tell you what's happened.
Stand over there. What's your friend called?
You don't know. Let's talk. Let's talk. Calm down. Fucking calm down.
Right, you go with your mum.
I won't.
The situation's getting a little bit more heated within the cafe, and I'm aware of my safety and my colleagues' safety.
Get your mum up the way. Get your mum up the way. Jesus Christ.
So Karen's speaking to the woman who's made the call and her daughter at the time.
Calm yourself down or else I'm
fucking love it. That's fine.
Listen! Calm down!
Right. I don't know what happened between them, but I can assure you now I can hold my hand up. My brother just not hurt. He's got a cook. Yeah, my brother's worse.
They've made these allegations that the male in the kitchen that I was with has assaulted her son.
Right, what's your name?
Initially, the chap that we were speaking to and we were dealing with was pleasant. There was no issues.
What? What's your name?
Karen comes back to me and asks the suspect to go outside.
Sorry? It has, like, you don't tell me what it has and hasn't. I'm done. 650?
2158.
Sorry? 650? It has got a lot to do with me.
So I engage with the suspect, who is quite a big bloke, quite tall, muscular.
Will you come with me outside?
Nothing gets done to me.
Right, come outside with me. Come outside.
So we lead him outside.
Just hang on a second.
Just stay there. Just come on.
Yeah, go. Listen, nothing gets done for that.
Right, well, can you just explain what's actually happened in there?
Just come to my car.
No, I'll get in your car.
There's a lot of people in there. We're just outside. You know, let's go and sit in my car and we'll talk about it. And I just wanted to get a little bit more information.
I need you to get in my car. Do you know why? I'm trying to diffuse the situation, all right?
But straight away from his behaviour, his body language, his demeanour towards just the whole assessing the situation, it was a case of I knew he wasn't going to get in my car.
Right, this is the car. I do, by law, have to get in your car.
Right.
That is law.
Right, well, at the minute.
Right, arrested them.
Gary, just calm down.
No, I'm saying, by law.
So I take hold of his arm, I apply one handcuff to the rear.
Right.
That is law.
And it's at that point that Karen tells him that he's under arrest, and that's on suspicion of assault.
Right, well, put your hands behind your back, because at the minute, right, I'm arresting you on suspicion of an assault, all right?
I went to grab his arm, and I sort of forced it behind his back towards the other hand, and at that point he just lashed straight out and connected with my face.
You do not...
You take your arms, get off, Gary.
It knocks me for six a little bit, to be honest, so I stumble back.
Behave or you'll get sprayed. Just chill.
And I can see that Karen's trying to get him detained, but Karen's got one arm and he's pulling away with the other and he's trying to get away. So at that point I thought that the best option for me would be to use pepper spray. That hit him in the face, and that was a good shot. However, it appeared to have no effect at all.
Put your hand behind your back now!
Although I've got hold of this cuff here, I need to get control of him. He's too strong for me.
Put your hand behind your back now!
He is overpowering me because I'm getting pulled along by him, and that's when I use my pepper spray.
Put your hand behind your back!
car. Get out. Hey, fuck with me.
He just moved. The spray was absolutely perfect shot. Hit me straight in the face. That was it. I'm essentially out of the game. Karen's fighting with him, and now she's by herself because I can't see. I'd press the panic button because essentially Karen's fighting in 1v1. I know that he's quite a big man. I can see he's quite physical and quite strong, and I know that it would be a struggle for Karen alone to detain him. The emergency assistance button on the top of the radio, it is, well, it's rarely used because it's only supposed to be used in the most extreme circumstances. Once it's pressed, there's just a noise that I can't describe. It's horrifying, and it just makes a loud noise in your ear, and everyone knows what it is.
We were going round and round and round and ended up on the floor.
I could see his shape over Karen, and I could see movement, and to me, initially that looks like it's some sort of punches or something, and I can hear Karen struggling. And so for me, the next option is to use my baton. I struck him to the back of the legs because he was kind of on top of Karen, and I thought that would potentially cause him enough pain to get off her.
You're on the floor and you've got someone who's overpowered you and they're actually on top of you. Regardless of whether you're a female or a male, it's just really, there's no words to describe it, it's horrendous.
So I hit him in the ribs with the baton. That did have an effect. So then I sort of hit him with the bottom of the baton as well onto his back. Oh, it worked enough to stop him from what he was doing. And at that point, I just sort of got onto his back because I knew that it would be difficult for him to lift me up. And I just sort of held him there, and I think I held him by the neck.
My survival instinct has kicked in.
I brought the car back to the own favour. I brought the car. I'll go with him.
I have the suspect on top of me, and I have my crewmate on top of me as well. And I just remember crawling out from underneath, but kind of being proud of myself because I still had hold of them handcuffs.
I'll go with him.
I think that's where everything takes effect and he stops resisting. So, yeah. And that's when I've seen the lights from back up coming.
Get him caught! I've got him fucking. Somebody get that button. Look down the fucking back in now. Fucking right, I've got control of him. Just get the hand on. Are you okay, sorry? Yeah, just about. We've both got fucking. Any further can cancel.
No, we've got a lot in there, chassis.
It was very important that I locked him up. And it wasn't like to score points, it was to carry on my duty, which was my initial intention, and I was just completing what I was doing. Yeah.
Right, you're under arrest for an assault. You're under arrest for assault, BT, and resist arrest.
If someone could keep telling me,
bend this arm, no.
Right.
You do not have to say anything that may harm defence. Do not mention my questions. Something you later learn. There you go. Do us a favour, just go inside, please.
Right. No, we'll just do tactical. Have you got him?
Fucking hell.
Yeah, it's just the other crossing the wall. Yeah, okay.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I couldn't do it. I got a face full, I couldn't do anything.
Yeah. Oh, no, I wasn't trying to think. I was trying to fight it. All I was trying to fight was to make it was. Shoot him on, you idiot.
Fucking hell.
Carried out my duties, did my full shift. Had cuts and bruises, sore knees, and then, you know, I arrived home at what, 1:30 in the morning, and you walk into an empty house, and all you just want to speak to your family. And it's not until you walk through the door, your uniform's not on you anymore, and it's like, this is me. I'm Karen the wife, Karen the mummy. And yeah, that's when it hits you, because you haven't got this front on anymore. And I went into my little boy's room, and he woke up, and he gave me the biggest cuddle ever. And yeah, that's when I thought, I'm glad to be home, and I'm glad that I'm safe. And that hug just meant the world. Before body-worn cameras, you know, it was all about statements and putting your evidence in statements. And for me, no words, I couldn't put it into words, how that made me feel on that night or what I dealt with. However, that body-worn video, all the evidence was there. My only question would be, and I still don't know, and it's a question that, you know, my colleagues have asked me, did anybody watch that footage at court? And to this day, I don't know. And I would just ask, did it or did it not? Because it's very impactful. There's various things that they take into consideration in relation to the sentence. So, you know, it's not for me to comment on that. However, and it's not about the money aspect, it's about the mental, it's about how this made me feel. Looking back at it now, maybe I should have opened up a little bit more and just let people know how much it affected me, because I did go through a spell where I kept on reliving the incident, which wasn't pleasant. Especially going days off, I'd be fine. And then the night before my first shift back in, I'd be lying in bed, just thinking about the incident, what's going to face me at work. And it went on for a couple of months. I'm a lot stronger now, and I've realised this year that, you know, if I do need to speak to someone, then I'll know the signs and the symptoms, and I will speak to someone if it happens again in the future.
Colwyn Bay is a lovely town. There's a lot of affluent people in Colwyn Bay. And the town centre's growing massively since the investment down on the promenade. It's a lovely place, and it's a very small element that causes problems. But those problems that they cause are quite significant. I've been a police officer for 18 years, and my role is I still think of it as a good old-fashioned copper, being out there and being seen. Policing has changed significantly over the years. It used to be, ironically, more violent when I joined 18 years ago, and then we went through a period where it was relatively calm. Around here, we work in a very nice place, but that's changing again. It's getting a lot more violent again, and particularly the younger element are just not afraid of standing up to police. They are a lot more challenging of authority, far worse than I've ever experienced. Mainly, it's drink-related and drug-related. There's quite a drug problem with the youngsters. And it makes them so they don't have the same rationale and the same rational thinking that potentially they would have if they weren't on those drink and drugs. Klinos and I, we crewed up a lot. She was my probationer, so I was a tutor. We liked working with each other. We know how each other work. And it just so happened on that night, the sergeant put us out together.
Brad's police colleague Klinos is still not ready to talk about the events of that night.
We'd had a very busy night. Because there was no staff in Llandudno at that time, we were called over to a domestic incident, which was our priority. As we were driving through Colwyn Bay on Blues and Twos, a member of the public jumped out in front of the van, literally, and told us that there was a fight going on and that we needed to go and break it up. It was literally next to us. We went round the corner, and our intention was to break it up, let them disappear, and then carry on to go to the domestic incident. We drove into this car park, which is known locally as Ivy Street Car Park. There's a little alleyway up in front, and I could see a group of kids just up there, just standing around. So Klinos and I drove round into the car park to see what was going on, mainly because of the report we'd had. And when we turned this corner, we saw a large group of kids. And they weren't really doing much, but they were clearly in some kind of heated debate with each other. We had the blue lights going, the sirens were going, and our intention was, what normally happens when they see the blue lights and the tones, they run away. But they didn't run away on that night. They decided to approach the van with a lot of hostility. And so we decided to get out of the vehicle, to tell them to move, to get them just to disperse so that we could get to where we were going, to the domestic incident. We were simply asking them to go away, quite forcibly in times, telling them to go away, to break it up, break up the group and disappear. We tried to push them onto the main road so we were more visible to the cameras, whilst asking for more officers to come down and just give us a hand to disperse them. Initially, there was a group of about 5 or 6 of them, but that kept growing. I think it ended up being about 15 to 20. We're now surrounded by a group of teenagers who are drunk and some of them high on drugs as well. It got a lot more hostile, with them putting camera phones right in our faces with the torches on, which is a horrible feeling because you cannot see what's coming at you. The phones were literally touching our faces. It was at that point I realised we could be in a lot of trouble here, because I didn't know how far away my colleagues were.
It was the early hours in the morning, and we was doing a search for premises when we become aware of some trouble in Colwyn Bay Town Centre. Due to the nature of the task we were on, we couldn't actually leave at that time. You do want to go, but because of the legislation you're doing it under, the search needed completing. You can only enter the property once.
We managed to move them back. One of the ringleaders, he was the one that was aiming the most aggression. The others were shouting at us and swearing at us, but he looked a little bit older than the others. I decided that he'd overstepped the mark and I arrested him.
You want to go and help your colleagues, but you've also got to remember what you're doing as well. Thankfully, there was a lot of officers that responded.
My colleagues, because they were only down the road, they were all there pretty quickly, a couple of minutes. My intention was remove him from the group, and hopefully, if we remove that one person, the others then decide to disperse. Me and another colleague took him from Woodlands Road back across Abergele Road to the van. He changed. As soon as we took hold of him, he changed. He was apologetic, he was crying, he was getting upset. So I thought we'll put him in the van, which was still parked across the road. And I drove the van back round to where the rest of the officers were. I still had a domestic that I had to go to in Llandudno, which to me is a priority over some kids being antisocial. So my intention was to get this guy's details and take him home, drop him off at home, and I could deal with him again when he wasn't intoxicated. The group dispersed. All the officers went back about their normal business, leaving Llynnos and I there again. And he'd calmed down. He was protesting from the back of the van that he wouldn't cause any trouble. And I told him that I was taking him home. All I needed off him was an address. He initially gave me an address, but it was literally within the town centre. It was in a 2-second walk of where we were, and I explained to him that that wasn't a suitable address because I believed he'd come straight back out. He gave me another address, but I needed to check that that address was one that I could take him to. As I was talking to him in order to get that address from him, he started to get very aggressive again, very argumentative and hostile. So I closed the custody door again because I didn't want him to get excitable. He did appear through the door to have calmed down. I opened it up and said, "Give me that address so we can take you home." And at that point, he's exploded out of the van. I'd taken hold of him and a scuffle started. And he started swinging punches. One of them connected with my eye socket. And it floored me. And I was unconscious then. I was unconscious for 90 seconds approximately. I'm in the middle of quite a dark, busy road with cars coming towards me. Thankfully, Llynnos was there. She's taken hold of the defendant just as he's taken a swing with his foot towards my head, and she stopped that from happening. And then she's been punched to the face, flung around and assaulted, a punch to the hand and arm numerous times. It's quite horrific. He managed to get away from Llynnos purely because he slips his jacket off. Even though Llynnos had been attacked, she carried on running after him. I believe it was when I was on the floor, Llynnos pressed her red 1 button, as we call it, to get help, to get urgent help, while she was being flung around. As soon as you hear that tone, everything stops. Because it doesn't get pressed very often. People don't just press it because they want to talk on the radio. They press it because they need help now. Once the red 1 was pressed, there was officers there very quickly. But it wasn't until some time later that I kind of realised what was going on.
The search was finished in Colwyn Bay when the activation went off. You could just hear shouting in the background. I think I could hear Llynnos's voice. And it was then we heard the CCTV operator inform the control room that there was an officer lay on the floor. So we headed along Abergele Road, and as we come over the brow of the hill, I've seen our sergeant, and he was pointing down one of the side streets. And so I've immediately turned the car down the side street, and on there's a back alleyway. And as I've looked up the alleyway, there was a male person running. Myself and my colleague have run down the alleyway. When we got in the car park, there was nobody to be seen. And then as I've been coming through the car park, I've heard a noise under a car which has drawn my attention. And then I've immediately seen the male that I'd seen running up the alleyway underneath the car. I then drew my taser and started shouting instructions to the male to get out from underneath the car, telling him that he did have a red dot on his chest. He eventually rolled out and other officers joined and we were able to get him handcuffed. And then I arrested him for the 2 assaults on the police. I made my way to the scene where Brad and Llynnos were still awaiting transport to hospital.
It was a horrible feeling. I was totally bemused about what had happened, to be honest. Because the last I remember, I was taking somebody home. And then I'm waking up, properly waking up in hospital, with Llynnos next to me, who could hardly move. and she was black and blue. My injuries were quite light in comparison. I had a severely swollen eye socket. It was badly bruised. It looked really bad. And the concussion was the worst thing. They suspected that I had a fracture, but luckily I didn't. On the night, people thought that my injury was worse, but by no way was it, which gets me quite emotional now because as a result of what's happened, you know, Clinos has got a serious injury. She still can't use her dominant hand, her right hand, because of the significant damage that's been caused by him to her. She can't drive, she can't grip anything, and ultimately her career's in the balance because of him. Because of Clinos's injury, and we were waiting for medical reports, it seemed to take an eternity for him to be charged. He eventually was charged with a Section 47 assault on myself, and what we call a Section 20 wounding on Clinos. Quite rightly, he was charged with a more significant assault on Clinos than myself. In 18 years, this is by far the worst assault that I've ever had personally. And it's also the worst injury that I've seen to an officer in terms of longevity of injury. Because what's it been now? 9 months, 10 months since it happened, and Clinos is still no better. She's no further on. And potentially she's got a long, long road of recovery, and that shouldn't happen. Clinos is still suffering. He's not getting any additional penalty for what he's done to Clinos or I. I'm still very angry. I'm still quite emotional about it. The public need us to be strong. It would have been nice if the court system would have backed us up, to make it as if a justification for us doing what we do. Because at the moment, we don't feel like there is much justification for going out there and getting hurt.
The Crime Survey of 2019 estimated that there were over 1.3 million incidents of violence in England and Wales.
I'm just getting on. Do you want to come have a cup of tea? Oh my God, what's he doing?
During this time, there has also been a rise in attacks on officers.
I don't have the answer as to why violence has increased on the level that it has. I think it's a society issue, but also I think the lack of a deterrent is certainly a big part of it. You know, far too often I see officers or members of police staff who've been badly assaulted, and the offender, you know, in a courtroom puts on their suit, they have a solicitor who's saying how much of a hard life they've had, and they walk away from court with nothing more than a smack on the wrist.
Twitching window movement. Armed police! Armed police! Put your hands up to the window now!
The changing element of certain criminals is another reason for violence towards my officers. And you can see that here in Kent and indeed nationally. Some of those very organised, very violent criminals think nothing at all about injuring an officer to carry out criminality or indeed escape and evade arrest.
Shots fired! Get back, get back, get back, get back, get back!
I know that we have really strong public support around dealing with people who assault emergency workers to ensure that the criminal justice system actually imposes the most severest sanctions to make this unacceptable. Police officers and police staff join the service knowing the risks that they could end up being injured. They accept that risk as part of public service, particularly in relation to protecting life and running towards danger. But psychologically, when you are assaulted, it completely changes.
Assaults on police officers in 2019 increased to over 30,000 in England and Wales.
3 bar though, 3 bar urgent. Males in balaclavas. They've ran me and attacked me.
First and foremost, we can only deliver policing if we've got fit officers, both physically fit and psychologically fit. And I always describe policing as this is a marathon and not a sprint. And we need to be both of those, physically and psychologically fit to do the job. And in our personal lives, things ebb and flow, and in our professional lives. So we need to make sure that we support people throughout their careers.
Is there anything in this car now that you can get in trouble for at all? No. No drugs or that? No. Sure? How far?
It's all... Get on the car. Get on the car.
This financial year, I've had my officers assaulted 1,400 times, which is outrageous. In 2015, roughly about 460 officers were assaulted. Totally and utterly unacceptable.
$20,000 uplift that is being described in terms of coming into the police forces. Yes, it's going to make a difference. The additionality for us alone will be somewhere around an extra 300 officers. We need those officers, our communities need those officers, and it will enable us to give a better service to members of the public, undoubtedly.
My great passion is road safety. That's my core function, my core role every day when I come into work. I want to make sure that, you know, people aren't getting hurt, and unfortunately some people die on the roads, and, you know, we try our very best to prevent that. In the 11.5 years since I started as a probationary constable, the job has become far more difficult. Attitudes have changed. I go back to my childhood, you know, several decades ago now, and I look at now, and there's definitely a different attitude from the public. Authority figures, it's really fair to say, command a lot less respect. A lot of people nowadays are more than happy to challenge authority and go that extra step.
It's a lovely county, North Yorkshire. It's so picturesque. It's a lovely place to work. It's the variety of the job. It wouldn't be uncommon for a shift at work during a day for me to cover 200 miles.
Borough Bridge is a sort of a market town. It attracts tourists, it's got a nice little bit of history to it. But it's quite a small town, and it's quite quiet. Once the sun goes down, it becomes quite sleepy. The evening itself was nothing exceptional. There wasn't a great demand from me, personally, on the radio. Just after 11:30 at night, we get a call about an antisocial behaviour incident in Borough Bridge.
Traffic Officer Minto's police colleague has requested their identity is concealed for operational reasons.
So the call that came over the radio was that there was 2 youths running around a particular house with weapons, shouting abuse at the occupants inside. I was tutoring a student officer. We weren't far away, so we've said we'll go. My colleague Dave has shouted up on the radio and said that he would back us up.
I drive down the road and on the grass verge I see a couple of youths, pretty much as described. And there was a mention of weapons in the original call, a sledgehammer and a metal pole, and I get out my car and go over and speak to the youths, and I sat down. They get up when I go over.
Hello.
About a minute or 2 later, 2 of my colleagues arrive.
I think we'll search these lads in reception 1.
What are your names?
You've got 2 juveniles and it's midnight. I think my first concern is, what are you doing out?
Just stick your can of pop and stuff on there, mate, and your food.
Can I search him first? 2 lads were compliant and just talking to him. Obviously, we knew that there was weapons potentially involved, but from Dave's body language, it seemed it was all under control.
What's up? You got anything on?
Something's been going on at...
That's it, move it on.
Some weapons not too far away from them, and there were the weapons that had been described by the original caller.
The next minute, a car pulls up on the wrong side of the road, which was a bit strange.
I can see a female driver and a male front seat passenger, and I just asked them whether they want me to move my vehicle out of the way so they can get past. At this point, the female gets out the car.
What's going on? Just turn around for me. What's going on?
What's going on with this stuff, yeah?
On the grass verge, there was a metal bar and a sledgehammer.
It's a fairly hefty bit of equipment, that, isn't it? Long hammer.
It's not even my fault.
While we're dealing with the 2 lads, the passenger got out, comes walking over, obviously drunk, shouting and swearing at us, telling us that, you know, what we're doing with these 2 lads.
Oh, yeah.
What are you terrorising him for?
Why are you swearing?
Just calm it down. Just calm it down, all right?
Well, what's he...
going on? You know what I mean?
This is your one warning, all right?
I try to start it quite low, reason with them, and just tell them to calm down.
One warning.
One warning, I didn't do that.
One warning.
Yeah.
Give them every warning, and at that point, I decide I'm going to have to arrest him here for being drunk and disorderly in a public place.
Leave him! Leave him! I'm not
we'll get off.
No.
My student was still with the 2 lads who were obviously getting a bit excited. The female was sort of getting in the way while I was trying to help Dave get hold of this male.
Stay away. Stay away.
When I'm out of the vehicle, it just turns into a grapple.
I've tried to get hold of the man's arm, but he's a lot bigger than me, and he's managed to get hold of Dave's vest.
Get out of the car now.
I feel him put his foot over my ankle in the front of my foot, and at the same moment he pulls me over. The lower part of my leg just seemed to almost stay glued to the road surface, and as soon as I went down I just felt my leg go straight away. The pain itself was just all-consuming.
Dave's yelled out in pain.
Get the fuck
Get off me!
Get off him!
Go here, listen!
Go, man!
I've done fuck up! Let's go!
Because this man was still being aggressive and he started walking towards me, I've used my parva, sprayed it in his face.
Go here!
He was walking back towards where Dave was on the floor, and I've shouted for assistance on the radio.
Need assistance, need assistance. Right.
Spray me! I've done fuck all!
Right, just calm yourself down.
If you push that button, it'll instantly send out an alarm.
I haven't drunk!
Get people here now,
I haven't fucking drunk! Get up!
You've basically got the airwave then, so your control room knows that you're going to need assistance.
Stand back, stand back.
Get the fuck up! No!
Everybody on the radio can hear what's going on, and hopefully they'll drop everything and come and help you.
Get out the car now. Get out the car now.
I've done fuck all!
Get out the car now.
Get off me!
Get off him! Need assistance, need assistance.
At that point, I still didn't really know what had happened, and I did actually shout up again.
I haven't drunk!
Get people here now.
I haven't fucking drunk!
Obviously, in that situation, there's a lot of noise. You can't always hear what's been said back to you on the radio.
Come on, just stand back.
So I've shouted again, saying, yeah, is there anyone coming?
Dave, you all right?
Let's fucking go!
Can you sit up there?
Heard Dave yell, was obviously in agony. It's not really Dave's style to be screaming and yelling on the floor.
Do you need an ambulance, Dave?
I knew straight away I'd done something quite serious to me ankle, and there was, if I'm honest with you, there was little I could do for a very short while.
You're not taking him up.
The danger for me and both my colleagues was people coming out the houses and in the street who were obviously wanting to get involved in some way.
I've done fuck all!
And the man, I hadn't handcuffed him at that point because I didn't want to get hands-on in case, he tried anything else. So I thought my best option was to contain him there and try and keep the other people away.
10 assistance call in Borough Bridge.
At that point, I did feel quite helpless. I just had to try and keep the man where he was until assistance arrived.
Done fuck all wrong!
Look, he's right.
I'm getting sprayed in
Yeah,
that.
he's just assaulted
I know.
a PC.
Fucking assaulted.
Right. You
Oh, bullshit!
I just tried to pull myself from the road onto the pavement, but my ankle it felt snapped. It was wobbling, and I knew it was a long-term injury straight away.
Come here. Broke my ankle. Right, can you sit? Just sit.
Waiting for assistance, it felt a very long time, but it was probably a matter of minutes.
What's in 90am6?
Spare me with CS.
Stay there.
Again,
Just
love.
stay there.
They've been
pulled up, They're getting pulled up.
Spare me with that shit again.
The first to arrive was Johnny. He works out of Knaresborough.
Johnny. He's an arrest by me for D&D. You know what's coming for assault police as well.
Well, do it.
He's just
You
broken
done
his
nothing,
ankle.
cunt. I'll bust him up now.
My colleague has got out of his van and walked straight past me, actually, because he's obviously seen Dave on the floor. I've shouted to him, you need to come here.
Get out. Get out.
You fucking do it now.
Get out.
Right, you need to get out.
Get out of the car under arrest.
Pushed it. Fucking pushed him, mate. Yeah, pushed him.
The D&D.
What? Are you taking the piss?
We've handcuffed the male, and then we've walked him to my van.
Fucking muppets.
And the man at that point basically saying that David assaulted him.
And he fucking grabbed me first. So I tripped him up, I punched him, I kicked him, and fuck all. But I ain't fucking bothered. Pick me up if I get out. I don't give a fuck. Let's fucking...
We've got him into the cage of the van, and then my other colleagues come down and we could take him to custody. The 2 lads were compliant. It was all under control.
Yeah, no problem. We'll keep them all coming. Yeah, just confirm
You right, pal? Your ankle.
Pulled myself across to the pavement, and we're just waiting to the ambulance, but we waited and waited, and we just thought, I'll get in the car. My colleague had me to the hospital. I got there and immediately went for x-rays, which confirmed my immediate fears, which was I'd fractured my ankle, I'd fractured both my tibia and fibula. It was plated, it was pinned, and my understanding was that would stay in place for a minimum of 12 weeks. My in-laws, they were looking after my son, and they later visited hospital and brought him in, and, you know, because he's so young, he didn't know what was going on. He saw Daddy lying in a bed with a drip in his arm and with a plaster on his leg, and that wasn't the way that I was when I went to work the day before that. It was all very confusing to him. It was quite difficult to get a cuddle out of him. He didn't want to come very close, and yeah, it's all upsetting. I didn't return to work until January, so I was off work for really about 5 months. As well as a physical effect, the incident has a psychological effect. It does affect you mentally. You're left at home and you've got a lot of time and not a lot to do, and it's a lonely place, and yeah, it was a struggle. The early days were certainly a struggle.
You don't really go to work expecting that you're going to come back with that type of injury and miss out on a lot of things over the months, emotionally and sort of mentally. I think it will impact and has. You know, he's been off work for a long time.
I'm doing really well physically, back out running, slowly. And hopefully in the next few weeks, all being well, if I requalify and a lot of the things that I need to requalify in, I'll be back to front line and doing what I did prior to the 1st of August.
In North Wales, a police officer is assaulted every day.
So I cover the eastern area of the force, that is all of Wrexham and Flintshire counties, and every area poses a different challenge. So on a day-to-day basis, I could be called to a stolen car or a collision involving livestock on a rural road.
There is a very large influx of people that come to the holiday resorts. So your areas like Rhyl, Prestatyn, Llandudno, Ynys Môn, which is Anglesey, they get a lot busier in the summer.
Control room had asked me to go and look for a silver Audi estate vehicle, which they believed to have been scouting out properties to commit burglaries. They knew there were several men on board, and that's really all they knew. They had passed me a registration, but there was always that chance that it could have been on a different registration, so I had to just really keep an eye out for a silver Audi estate with some men on board.
I had just been to a road traffic collision on the A55 dual carriageway in the Holywell area, and she made me aware of a vehicle that was of interest that had been involved in some burglaries.
As I was driving through the village, I spotted a silver Audi parked up.
Yeah, obviously, so put a quick job on.
As I was going past it, I noticed that there was a driver sat in the vehicle. He was just staring ahead, Nothing particularly untoward. The registration as I'd gone past I noticed wasn't the same as the one that I was looking for, but I just wanted to get a bit of a closer look. So I stopped and I reversed back.
2019, we'll start location, please.
As I reversed back, I looked at the driver straight in the eye. He looked at me and I recognised him.
Tango 07, I'm with this vehicle now.
And then when I saw all the other masked figures popping up, at that point I really knew that I'd come across something big. As they pulled away, I was just thinking I need to get more officers to me. As a single crew taser officer, I knew that I had some options. I had a really good vehicle. I could keep up with them. I knew that my driving would be much better than theirs, but I needed more people. I needed the helicopter, I needed the dogs, I needed firearms, I needed everyone. I called it in over the radio.
Yeah, spontaneous pursuit. I'm going to change channels out 1 second. Runway Tango 07.
When they raised their arm towards me, and I knew that they were going to throw something rather than just run away, I was scared. I just thought something is going to come through the windscreen, and I'd really not want it to hit me in the face. Then when the second suspect raised his arm to throw something, at that point the fear set in again, thinking this could be the one that goes through the windscreen. So I just got my head down, waiting and hoping for the best. Luckily for me, the second suspect was a rubbish throw and hit the bonnet instead.
07, they're throwing stuff at this vehicle. I've got a smashed windscreen.
It was only luck and poor aim on their part that I didn't get hit in the face.
I've been in the job 15 years, and it's the first one that I'm aware of that they've used bricks.
North of Hall, heading towards Connersky. Can I give you a pursuit criteria, please?
I've known Emma a long time now, and she doesn't get flustered very easily, so I knew, you know, she wasn't happy to be there at all, and you could hear, as I said, not the fear in her voice, but you could, the urgency of, I need help, you could hear it in her voice.
They were constantly getting away. Their speeds must have been 110, 120. Ridiculous speeds, dangerous speeds.
Go ahead. Yeah, Chester Road, heading towards Connersky. 3028 driving, advanced drive, attack pursuit trained. Vehicle ends Foxtrot Whiskey Kilo. It's a 5.5 plate Audi. 4 males on board, all with balaclavas and hoods up. This vehicle's thrown a couple of rocks at my vehicle. I've got a cracked top windscreen.
I was aware that she continued. That's her all over. Brave. She's brave.
Headed into Eulo into the 30s.
The route that we took from North of Hall went down into a more populated area.
I've only got partial visibility on this vehicle now and again. It's heading to the roundabout, stand by for direction.
As we approached a big roundabout with loads of exits I couldn't see, I had no idea where they'd gone. I got stuck behind a van that didn't let me out. At that point, I had to make the decision as to which exit I would take. I just happened to notice a member of the public standing there pointing up a side road, and I thought, I'll go with that.
Yes, I'm by for Julia.
OK, we're going up Old Aston Hill, Ferry Hill. We're going to go back out on the 458, 550, heading east.
We have then taken a smaller road.
Yeah, vehicles ahead of me again. Are we authorised, please?
come around the corner, I've noticed a tyre bouncing across the road. Initially, I thought, have they crashed?
Yeah, current speed, 50. Stand by for decam.
It's only then that the doors have closed and the reverse lights have come on that I thought, oh, they're not running away. The impact of the collision was substantial. I smashed the visor above the driver's seat with my head. The force was huge.
Yeah, I've been rammed.
I got out of the vehicle and my head hurt, my hand hurt, and I was just in a bit of shock. I had the lady saying that it could have been killed. I was just standing there looking at the carnage of my police car, and it took hours, really, for me to stop, to just calm down afterwards and come to terms with really what had happened.
I wasn't far away from it, probably 30 seconds to a minute, so I actually didn't see her being rammed. I could hear it on the radio. I knew that once they do that, generally what they do is they'll drive off. My main aim was to try and apprehend them at the end of the street. And as I've pulled up, obviously I've seen them running away. So they've got 100 yards on me, roughly, at this point. I got within 4 or 5 feet of this male. In the heat of the moment, I decided to tackle him. He stopped running now, and I've continued to run. And it happened so quickly that we were right upon each other. He's then spun round and swung with his right arm at me. I collided with his forearm, his right forearm. I've heard and felt a snap or a popping noise in my right leg, just behind my kneecap. And at that point, tremendous pain, and I've gone to the floor on someone's driveway. I wasn't able to use my leg at all. It was broken. He turned away from me and I heard him shout something and then continued to run off down the street.
The offenders are considering every possibility. For them, they need to get away. It's the difference between spending a long time in prison and freedom. So the length that they're prepared to take is obviously escalating.
The assault against me was no further action by CPS. I did 3 separate ID parades. I picked someone out on the first one and I picked someone out on the third one. To me, they looked like the same people, they were the same person. To me, unfortunately, they were 2 different people. Although I believe the male that did assault me was found a few hundred yards away, hiding in someone's front garden. So yeah, it was no further action on the assault on me. When you first join, you've got the uniform and you think it's a bit of a shield. It's just a natural thing when you join, but you soon realise that it's no shield at all. So yeah, I have to think a lot more now.
not threaten to spit in my face, otherwise I will use force.
No, I won't, Paul. No. Stop buying it!
The lack of respect from some offenders reported by police means that even routine arrests pose a possibility of physical injury.
Get off him now!
The demand on my police officers and staff at the moment is not unbearable, but it is massive from all different avenues. So more to deal with and more violence to deal with.
You haven't got COVID-19, have you?
Yeah.
I think it's absolutely critical, in my view, that it is made crystal clear that it is unacceptable to actually assault any emergency service workers, not just police officers and police staff, but obviously paramedics, ambulance drivers and firefighters. The numbers are too high.
On average, during 2018 and 2019, a police officer was assaulted every single day in West Mercia.
Hereford it's a vast area, and the policing bases tend to be located within the slightly bigger towns or the city of Hereford itself. And you can get all manner of jobs, from the very simple to the quite serious, quite complex, quite nasty. And sometimes it's not uncommon for you to be the only police officer within 10 miles.
I've been a response police officer for the last 5 years. So I deal with all the 999 calls, all of the general public issues, you know, public order, nighttime drinking, the pubs, the clubs. When I first joined, I felt like there was perhaps a little bit more respect for the police. But over these last 2 years, without a doubt, or maybe 3 years, the respect for the police is pretty much on the floor.
The biggest change that I've noticed, I mean, bear in mind you're going back 15 years since I was a teenager anyway, is the lack of respect, certainly from the younger generations. They see the uniform, and a lot of them actually see it as almost as a goad to have a go at you and see how far they can push you.
Friday and Saturday nights are notoriously busy. We work from 5 in the evening till 4 o'clock in the morning, and we police the pubs and clubs. Some nights can be like you're spinning plates, you're running from job to job to job. We had a call from CCTV to state that there was a male outside the nightclub, just at the back of the police station, that's causing a bouncer some issues. We arrived and there was a rather angry male shouting abuse at the bouncer. He was ejected for being too intoxicated.
Right, listen, no, calm down. No, calm down.
I'll walk home. I'll walk home.
That's right, what's going
these
on?
people.
What's going on?
I'm not shouting.
What's going on?
No, I'm not shouting.
Look, shush. Direct it to us.
Please.
Calm down.
We stood outside with this male and just tried to get him to calm down, to leave, to go home, whilst listening to him so that he didn't think that we were being dismissive.
No.
Tell me. Don't talk to him, please. Tell me what's going on.
It's nothing to do with him.
Okay, then, so tell us then.
His colleagues.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it's fine.
Okay, are you going to go home?
Yeah, because it's ideal to...
It is, yeah. Where do you live? Where do you live?
It's quite a fine balance between listening and then trying to move them on. You have to try and find that balance. It works sometimes, sometimes it doesn't.
You're a little prick, mate.
Right, listen.
No, you're a fucking dickhead, mate.
Wait.
I'll tell you again. Stop shouting. Do me a favour, just stand this side so you're not...
No, that's all day long, because you're a copper. You're allowed to touch me. I'm not allowed to touch you.
No, listen. Stop.
He was shouting, he was swearing, having a verbal argument with everybody and being aggressive and sort of almost peacocking around, thinking that he can run the show.
You're going to take the side of a bouncer.
Go home.
I thought, brilliant, we've managed to resolve this. He's going to go off now. He's going to go find a taxi, lick his wounds, go home.
We're not going to arrest you, mate. No, because
you want it? No, listen.
Yeah.
We asked you what had gone on.
Because it's probably going to
We
cost
asked
a lot
you.
more paperwork.
We asked you what had gone on.
And I'm not even looking at him. But
We
I
asked you.
guaranteed you now, he's sat there like a smoked little.
The type of behaviour that this man showed to us is typical of drunk people on nights out.
Have a little bit of respect. Don't shout at me and don't treat me. Don't speak around me like that when I'm trying to help.
He was very, very abusive. Lots of obscenities.
How can you arrest someone?
We haven't arrested you.
I'm shouting, I'm sorry, shouting. No.
Calm yourself down.
He was stumbling all over the place and thinking that he had absolutely all the right in the world to be doing what he wanted in the street.
Right. I'm not being aggressive.
I'm telling you now, that's your last one.
Arrest me then. Arrest me. No, arrest me.
That's your last
Go on then.
one.
That's a bogus,
Are you going to go?
No.
Why? Why are you going to stand here?
Because I
Why
want
do
you to arrest me.
Why?
Because I want you to arrest me.
Right, listen. You're being ridiculous.
Yeah, I am.
You are. You're being
See
ridiculous.
who's that little fucking rat there, the little fucking stupid fat.
Then you're coming
Arrest
in
me,
for being
thank
drunk
you.
and disorderly. Right, get on the floor. No, turn round.
Oh, the boss is getting involved now.
He tried to punch past me. I don't know if he was trying to punch me or go towards the bouncer. So then we took him straight to the floor.
Right, get on the floor.
That's a fine. That's a fine. That's a £60
Turn
fine.
round. No, turn round.
Cuff me.
Yeah, I'm cuffing you now.
Go on then. That's not hard enough.
We don't do it to be hard, all right?
Harder.
I radioed up and said, we need a van. We need someone to just come and assist with us.
Don't start. Very well, cutting in. We need a van back, venue, please, ASAP.
As I was doing that, his other arm, as I got it round, I'm assuming he thought I was male and was trying to grab the male genitals. So he went to grab it, well, I think he thought they were, and instead just latched onto the side of my leg and just squeezed and pulled the inside of my leg.
Don't grab me! Don't grab me!
He's gone from being idiot to being violent. How he grabbed me, I could imagine would have floored a male police officer. He was locked on. He wasn't coming off. He knew exactly what he was doing, and he went for maximum effect.
No!
Little rat.
Ash, my colleague, shouted up over the radio to say that she needed some extra officers. We were literally in a van driving round the corner on our way back to the station, which happened to take us past.
Don't know his name. He's been He's just pinched all my legs, so just watch him.
Oh, okay.
Right, you're going in the van.
You do wonder, like, what goes on in people's minds to actually think it's OK to assault somebody who's a mum, who's a daughter, and they're doing it to cause you pain and injury.
Whoa. Fella, just keep walking this way. Keep looking at me then. Keep looking at me.
He was very intoxicated, very aggressive. Every other word that came out of his mouth was a swear word.
Use the fucking dick and you know it.
Highway one for the lodge. Smashing his head all over the van. Right, go in there with him, Alex.
Usually, if you're assaulted, you don't book them into custody. So then James took over and they took him back to the police station.
We drove the very short distance. I mean, it was literally 100 metres maybe, to the back of the police station. We got into the van dock, which is a secure area where the vans pull into and then the doors close across the front. And there was already somebody in custody at this point being booked in. So we had to wait for a little bit. He's still being very, very aggressive towards us. And then out of nowhere, he starts whacking his head against the side of the cage. We can't leave them in there hurting themselves. So we've got no option but to get him out and try and restrain him in some other way.
Get the fuck off my ankle! Stop! Get off my ankle now! I will calm down as long as that stupid little gets the fuck off my ankles.
But listen, they keep holding on to you because you keep kicking out and you keep lashing out.
Because they're on me, mate. I've done nothing wrong.
We've got him face down, prone, arms behind his back. He is actively trying to lift me and my colleague off of him in order to get away. He's trying to turn onto his side because as soon as he turns onto his side, he can kick his legs out.
Turn on your side, lie on your side, because we want you to have as much oxygen as you can. Lie on your side and relax. Lie on your side. Fuck off my ankles. Yeah, he will if you just stop kicking out, all right? No problem.
It was hard work for 15 minutes, especially when you've got someone who's intoxicated. They don't run out of puff. They just keep going and going and going and going.
We will help you, but sometimes, mate, you've got to help yourself. Okay?
How? Well,
no, just sit as you are.
What I'm saying, mate,
just
is
lie as you
I've been
are.
arrested for being drunk in a
Right.
public.
Right.
I've been arrested for being drunk
Then
in a pub.
Which is an illegal thing in a public place.
So why do you go to the pub, babe?
To have a drink, but doesn't mean...
Yeah, because you haven't drunk and to get drunk.
Well, I've never been arrested for being drunk and disorderly, mate, have I?
No, no. Copper, you little pig. Fuck off. No,
I'll tell you what, mate, I'm done explaining, fella.
Yeah, go on then, mate. Fuck off, mate. That's 24 hours, let's have it. Fuck you. Fuck you all.
Billy, you just
fuck
said,
it.
You just said
about fuck you all. No, shut the fuck up, you stupid.
His level of aggression was typical dealing with an intoxicated person who at the end of the day doesn't want to be dealt with by police, and it is something we encounter a lot more than most people think. Every other word that came out of his mouth was a swear word, and then, like the flick of a switch, he's gone off again.
Fucking leave me alone! Right, stop it! There you go.
I've got hold of his cuffs. His hands are sort of behind his back like this, and I'm sort of holding the cuffs in between. And I can feel him going for my wrist and going for my forearm with his nails.
Right, lock my arm. Huh? You pinch me again and I'll lock you up for assault. Right, you are under arrest again for assault police. Now get off my arm!
He is digging his nails into my arm, which resulted in a cut to the inside of my arm. And it's at that point that then we've got to get him into custody, we've got to get him into a cell, we've got to get him away from anyone that he can hurt, because uniform or not, this guy clearly doesn't care.
Now get off me!
He'd been given multiple warnings to stop feeling for my arm, to stop trying to pinch me, to stop trying to scratch me, and yet he made a concerted effort, deliberately, to hurt me, and that's what he did. I don't take it personally. I knew what this job was before I joined it. I knew that there were people out there that didn't like the police. It's not uncommon to be targeted, and you tend to find most people just see the uniform and they don't remember the face anyway. They just remember what you're wearing, and that this is what they don't like. If I'd have done what he'd done to another member of the public, I wouldn't have got what he got. I'd have got a heck of a lot worse. It just seems to be a little bit more acceptable that because I wear this uniform, I'm expected to just take that little bit more than your average person.
I was actually really angry with him, and you think, is it worth it? Because, I mean, we've had since then numerous incidents. You know, we've been assaulted since, and you do sit there and you think, oh gosh, you know, why am I doing this? Because I'm getting assaulted quite a lot at the moment.
We need to speak to you a sec, pal.
As assaults on police officers have risen over time, some forces have reacted.
Put the knife down! Now!
You're under arrest for assault police.
Met Police have turned the tables on the offenders and have gone after the violent thugs who think they've got away with assaulting coppers.
More units!
5 a.m. Intelligence has been passed to the police revealing the address of a man suspected of attacking an officer.
This is our subject. He's known for firearms, drugs, he's violent and he's to be arrested. This is a Section 8 PACE warrant. The victim was jumped upon. There were 6 subjects. That's the venue. And we're going to have a rapid entry into there. It's very important. We're doing a service for general public and we shouldn't be treated this way. We should be respected a little bit better than what we are.
A team of officers are ready for quick entry in the hope that they'll catch the man while he sleeps.
When everyone's ready, we'll go.
Somebody call a control room.
It's the sharp end of the fight back and the culmination of an enormous effort behind the scenes to change attitudes towards the escalating violent attacks.
We are the thin blue line, and if we can't hold people to account who attack the thin blue line, that line just gets eroded.
Chief Inspector David Brewster is the man in charge of making sure all cops take assault seriously and that the victims have support.
I was born and brought up in Leighton in East London and spent most of my childhood and teenage years in Leighton and Leytonstone. Joined the police when I was 20. I was first posted to Tottenham Division. I couldn't have asked for a better starting point in my career, if I'm honest. It was an exceptionally busy place to work.
Like most police officers, CI Brewster was assaulted during his career, but one incident sticks in his mind.
I was working at a concert in Finsbury Park and I was partnered up with a colleague. We saw a chap that we suspected was dealing drugs just off the side of the actual main event, and we approached him and told him that we were going to search him, and it was going okay until a number of revellers from the event started to take an interest in what we were doing. And then that very, very rapidly escalated to the point where within a matter of seconds, we were totally and utterly surrounded. I couldn't actually see out beyond the crowd. At that point, I started to feel quite vulnerable. And that's when the assaults really started. I got spat at in the side of the face from quite a close range. And then once that happened, spit started arcing in from just about every angle. I distinctly remember having spit dripping out of my ear, down the back of my neck. I had it in my mouth, in my eyes. And then bottles started being thrown at us. I can remember it, and I can vividly recall it to this day. When you hang your uniform up at the end of a shift, your life doesn't switch on to something else. You still go home to your family, your partner, your parents. You're still a human being.
CI Brewster established the Met's Operation Hampshire. It has 2 elements: change attitudes towards officers who have been assaulted and make sure that the prosecution of offenders isn't overlooked.
The end game was to ensure that if you were assaulted in Tottenham at the same time as a colleague was assaulted down in Croydon, the same process should apply.
Operation Hampshire and its principles are not rocket science. It's simple stuff, but the simple stuff works really, really well. If you invest in your people, you support them, try and prevent as many assaults as you can, but those who are assaulted, give them the support that they deserve and need.
Get on, Connor. Get on the car. Get on the fucking
I recruited a small team, a uniformed police sergeant who has quite a strong welfare and well-being focus. And I then recruited a detective sergeant who's got a really strong investigative background.
They start by meeting victims of assaults to understand how they have been treated post-attack.
Morning, everybody. The purpose of this group discussion is about your experiences as police officers who have been assaulted in the course of your duty.
They also begin to identify officers willing to spread the word about Operation Hampshire's goals.
Yeah, you could be with someone, work with someone one day who's like, oh, he pushed you, we're all over this. Whereas the next day you can work with someone and they can just be like, don't worry about it, man up.
And that's why we need people like you who are willing to sort of nut into their colleagues and say, look, come on, I know you're saying it was only a kick or it was only a so-and-so, but think about the longer-term impact. And what might be an innocuous shove in the chest to one person might be the straw that breaks the camel's back to another, who might say, do you know what, I've had enough of this job.
As the largest force in England and Wales, Met Police have experienced the most assaults on their officers. Right at the top of the Met, there is a realisation that this problem has to be tackled right now.
I've been a police officer probably about 36 years and was assaulted a number of times, and it was something that was just looked on as, well, that's part of the job. It wasn't dealt with as sensitively and as professionally as it should have been, and that's what we're trying to do with Operation Hampshire. I still get, on a daily basis, evidence that the organisation hasn't fully got this as an issue. I should be getting an impact statement for every single officer and member of staff who is assaulted so that I can read it and sign it and put that into the CPS file. I'm not getting that. At the moment, we reckon the figures are probably 5,500 to 6,000 officers a year in the Metropolitan Police Service assaulted. That's hundreds a month. I'm not signing hundreds of statements a month. At the moment, I'm signing probably 3 or 4 a day, which tells me that we're not quite there yet.
The team's efforts to support officers who have been victims of assault includes work on the Liverpool Road incident that featured in this series.
Please, what's your emergency?
Someone's fighting in this house. Could you come and stop it, please?
All 4 of us have made our way up to the address. So we walk up to the door.
We can't hear any sounds of anything. There's nothing alerting us, no suspicion of anything going on at this time.
Door immediately opens. I could see a male there.
He doesn't look scared, he didn't look angry, he didn't look like he was harassed, like something had been going on.
I asked him what he had in his hand. And then within a blink of an eye, I've just seen him attack Star. I've seen her raise her arm in the air, and she screamed, and she's fallen back. I just saw a metal glint, so it's like a metallic flash. I remember screaming, and all I could hear was just my own screaming. I thought I died.
This incident was unprecedented for the officers involved. And the care that they were provided with initially afterwards wasn't great. This stiff upper lip attitude, well, it's just part of the job, innit? Come on, get on with it, is something that actually, following Liverpool Road, was very much in play. This was a traumatic event. Op Hampshire spent a lot of time with the officers, Mr. Brewster specifically, talking to them.
I feel really privileged to be able to try and change something on this scale for people who I genuinely believe do an incredible job. We believe that if you assault a police officer or a member of police staff who is trying to do their job, protecting the public, that you should face justice.
In North London, a team have just smashed in the front door of a man suspected of attacking an officer.
Anyone in, mate? Yeah. The subject in?
Subject, yeah.
Oh, good. Lovely. Brilliant job.
And a female.
Brilliant. When you're ready, Skip, I'll bring the level 3s through.
Any 3 control gun.
Yeah, our subject's in. And we're just doing the searching now. do have made the arrest. I'll get the Pixie van up here.
Yeah.
The raid is textbook, and a man is arrested in bed. Our police are dealing with extraordinary levels of violence. Knife attacks. Acid attacks. And unprovoked assaults.
We're trying to bring about a changing culture, if you like, where we see ourselves as victims as well. You do a difficult job, a dangerous job that other people either can't do or won't do. And if you get assaulted during that process, you deserve to be looked after.
£400,000 in government funding to tackle knife crime and serious violence. Community groups in Stoke-on-Trent have worked hard to reduce the number of knife-related incidents, but violence is still an issue.
I'm a Stoke lad, born and bred. I've been around these streets, grew up in them. I've been in the force now as a full-time officer for 7 years. At the time of the incident, I was a response sergeant, so I was responsible for 33 staff, and I'm covering the whole of North Staffordshire with my colleagues. Stoke-on-Trent, it's made up of 6 towns. Got a lot of different cultures, a lot of nationalities, but it is still predominantly a very working class area. Used to rely years ago on the pot banks, the mines and the steel industry until things started to change. It has suffered over the years. Poverty is a big issue. With that sort of issues comes crimes as well. There's a lot of violent crime, domestic crime, shoplifting, but that's just like any other real city centre. In terms of assaults on police, it seems to be every day we'll come in and we'll hear somebody on a shift who's been assaulted, and you're always hoping that's not a serious assault, but sometimes it is.
I've known Amos for about 2.5, 3 years. Patch is a very big patch, and from top to bottom it could probably take you 3/4 of an hour on a response run on blue lights and sirens to get from one end to the other. When you consider that an average fight can last 30 seconds before the damage is done, so it is a long way to have to go to back somebody up if they're in trouble.
It was the 2nd of August 2018. And about midnight it all starts to go a little bit wrong. I've got more jobs coming in than I've got police officers to deal with. We have a firearms incident come in, a male with a shotgun. So all me firearms officers have gone, me dog officers are gone. So I'm losing patrols left, right and centre. I'm just watching them go to this job. But there's still the normal demand coming in. So we get to the point where I believe 3 IRs all come at the same time. And I see this abandoned 999 call and I think, of the 3 we've got to deal with, this has got to be the one we've got to go to next. Abandoned 999 calls, they could be an accidental dial. But at the same time, it could be someone who's so in trouble they just can't speak. They can't say, I need help. If they said those words, it could put them in a greater danger. So they are, for me, one of the biggest priorities we have. The only person I can get is my colleague Chris. He picks me up and we start making our way to Longton, where the incident is. Got very little details. We don't know who's going to be there, we don't know anything about the address. So we're going in pretty blind. Now we're recording. We get to the address, and from the outside initially, it's all calm. It's a terrace street, it's 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, Everyone's asleep, the windows are in darkness, apart from an upstairs light on this house. I can see a crack of light coming through the curtains. So I'm thinking, OK, somebody's in there. Are they ignoring me or haven't they heard it? I start getting my torch, trying to flash at the window, just trying to get the attention of whoever's in there.
Mate, it's the police!
At the time, it seemed quite funny. A male, he's got no top on, comes to the window.
Fuck this turn off, yeah?
And in his broad Stoke accent, I think his words are, fuck you, send off, lads. Or basically telling me to go away.
Mate, you need to come down, the door's going through.
Something's not right in there. I can now hear a woman screaming in the room.
04, male's refusing his entry, can hear shouts inside, potentially putting the door through.
As Chris puts his toe on the door, the lock just breaks, and we're walking straight in the house.
What's going on, fella? Are they upstairs? I'd say. You see the dog, are you? What's going on?
Although you know the woman's in a bit of distress, it sounded wrong to say, but it's just at the moment it's still a run-of-the-mill job.
Oh, someone's called us. No, they're not arguing.
Who's upstairs, mate?
Your brother and sister. Your brother and sister.
Who is it?
Going to domestics, that's not unusual to hear people screaming and shouting.
Mate, it's the police! Listen, fucking straight back, lad. Fucking telling you, I've got someone in here with me now. I know you have. We want to check everyone's... Fuck off, then! We need to check everyone's okay.
I want him to know I'm inside, so hopefully he's going to come in and speak to me. Try a bit of verbal engagement, hopefully. We can get us sorted.
Fuck, man, I'm fucking enjoying it! Mate, open the door. Fuck off, because I've got a fucking knife on me, mate, all that sound.
He shouts, I've got a knife, and I know she's in there.
Put the knife down.
He's holding a hostage. I need resources come to me. I need help. I hit my panic button.
04, got a male here, he's saying he's got a knife behind the door. He's in there with a female. Can we keep the air clear or try and get me further assistance?
When the button goes, you go hell for leather to try and get there as quick as you can, because you know, if, particularly with someone like Amos, if he presses that button, he's actually got a big problem.
The minute I heard a scream, I'm worried he's going to kill her. Draw me part, started to shake it. Chris is right behind me, and we make the decision to go in the room.
Right, 04, 4 seconds. Make it go!
I spray him with parva, as does Chris. And suddenly the room goes in darkness, and I see a knife, he's running at me. He's let go of her. So I've pulled that door shut, and I'm thinking, I need to regroup here, I've got to try something else. Get your baton out. It's us with a stick against him with a knife. Generally, there's only going to be one winner in that, and a knife will do more damage than what our batons will. Chris has gone towards, and I've gone around the side. And then I hear this woman scream, and all I hear in my head, I hear like a gargle, and I'm thinking, he stabbed her, he's put it in her throat, and she's gargling blood. I've got to get him off her. I've jumped across the bed and just grabbed hold of him.
Get off it! Nick, put the knife down and get off it! Get off it!
Next thing I know, I'm on top of him. Still know he's got a knife, and it's in his right hand, and I'm trying to grab it as I'm on top of him. He's punching me in the back. I feel punch after punch after punch. I didn't know what he was hitting me with. I'm thinking, it's a stab vest, it's hitting. But then I feel a blow on the back of my neck. Reality, it was 4 or 5 seconds at most, but time seems to slow down. And then luckily, Chris hits him over the head with the baton. It stopped, the bloke's subdued. For a second, it's get your act together, and then it's those cuffs have gone straight on.
Right, come on, up on your feet. Okay? Mate, like I said, you try anything stupid, you're going flying again, all right?
The victim was on her feet, she's up, she's shouting, and that's, first off, the best sign. 10 seconds before, I thought she was a goner. I thought he'd cut her throat open. So to see her like that, sort of sigh of relief. It's a positive, at least she's still with us and she's okay.
Right, we're walking you backwards.
As we got the cuffs on, I look at my arms and I look at Chris and I can see blood. I can see blood on both of us. So I hit my panic button again. Just trying to let people know to get people to us.
You think you're cut as well?
I knew I was by far the closest patrol. I was literally a couple of minutes away, but I remember whilst I was en route, I'd heard knife, he's tried to stab me, and he's been battened.
I have been slightly cut to the face, nothing major, as has been oppo to the arm.
As the officers had him under control at that point, for me it was about clearing a path to get us out of the address. So I took a few steps in front of them, got down the stairs, and then when we got into the living room, it sort of went wrong a little bit again.
You're a wrong man. You're the fucking wrong one. Are you alright? You having me across there? Stand up, I can't see.
Suddenly, he wants to have a bit of a kick and a fight. And you're thinking, round two. But this time, he's in handcuffs, and I've got Dave there as well, so that attempt to try and fight again was always going to be futile. We got control of him, and it was just a case of getting him out of the house. And once he was out of the house, he went calm again.
Lift your leg up. Lift your leg up. I don't even know.
It's the first time we realise that we've not been cut. We've managed to start washing this blood off us, and we've got no cut marks. It's his blood. And it's that moment of relief where you're thinking, I'm not hurt, I'm not cut. I'm walking away from this, quite luckily, with very little injuries, if not just a couple of bruises and scrapes. It was a Stanley knife he was hitting me with. Our belief is to this day is when Chris took that first swing of the baton, he made that male let go of that Stanley knife for a second for that spring to fire that blade back in. If that blade had been out, it could have been catastrophic for the woman, could have been for me, and if he'd taken me out, Chris as well. If you assault any emergency service worker, you should face the wrath of the law, and you should be punished, because there has to be a deterrent. It seems that people will assault nurses, police officers, ambulance firefighters, and they feel they can get away with it because the sentences haven't been there before. I did feel like justice was done. He got a prison sentence, and for what he tried to do and what he could have done, I think he needed to be punished for that.
Evidence from the College of Policing suggests that males are more likely to commit serious violence and carry weapons.
They got a knife. I'm a police officer.
Knife crime in England and Wales is at its highest ever recorded level in modern times.
Between 2010 and 2018, knife crime in this county went up by a huge 152%. That's about 500 more offences, which is one of the reasons we're dealing with it so robustly. So if people are carrying knives, they won't think twice about injuring my officer when they are carrying that weapon.
1130.
Put the knife down! Or I will taser you! Put the knife down! Put the knife down! Put the knife down! Put the knife down!
All officers receive what we call officer safety training. So it's a mix of things. It's about how do I use my handcuffs, how do I use my CS spray, how do I use my baton, how do I look for those danger warning signs, and we train officers around that. We train them in terms of anticipation and in terms of how do we prevent ourselves getting in a position where we get assaulted.
Over the course of the first 9 months in 2020, the small town of Llanelli in Wales saw a rise in both antisocial behaviour and violent crime. Police organised a knife amnesty in November 2020 to help take blades out of local circulation.
I'm a response officer in Llanelli town. This is quite a busy town, and there's a lot of social issues here. Some of the kinds of calls we go to are kind of assault calls, domestic related calls, harassments, that kind of thing. Hannah is my colleague. She works in the same code as me. We joined together back in 2018, so we trained together. We get on really well.
My father was an inspector, and I've always thought it's a job which has interested me. I used to ask him loads of questions when I was younger. What are you doing today, etc., etc. So I thought I'd try and give it a go. The reality of the job is a lot different to what I expected, you know. From watching TV programmes, you see all the fast chases in the cars, running after, you know, baddies and such. However, it's not the case of turning up to a job, arresting someone, and then that's it. You've got to think then about the victim and doing what you can to prevent stuff happening again.
It was just gone midnight, I think, in March, and it was kind of damp kind of evening in Llanelli. It wasn't very busy from what I recall. We had a call on the radio to attend at a property for a noise disturbance. The report from a neighbour of antisocial kind of noise pollution, really, coming from a house in a residential street in the town.
We headed over to the address thinking it was going to be a case of knocking on the door, asking the occupant to turn the music down, and then explaining, obviously, you know, be respectful to the neighbours, etc. There hasn't been many issues in that area that I've been aware of.
The address was completely in darkness. There was a lady there. She was a relative, and she said that the man was inside, and she was just checking to see if he was okay. There were no warning markers on the address, you know, to be vigilant.
So initially, me and Justin went up and knocked on the very front door, which was just through the gate area on the left, but there was obviously no reply. We could hear that there was music quite loud at the address, so we thought it's a bit strange they're not answering, maybe they can't hear us. It's quite loud when the police knock, you know it's usually the police at the door, so we were thinking maybe he's seen the car pull up, maybe he just doesn't want to engage with us or doesn't want to answer.
So we then went around the side garden. There was a back door there. We went up to that and we knocked that, and there was still no answer. I had my torch, I was shining it through the window, and nothing was happening. And then suddenly I heard the lock kind of click in the back door.
The male then has opened the door and shouted at us, "Fuck off," or something like that. He was quite tall, bald head, relatively skinny figure.
He came out, he swore at us, and went back inside the house.
Okay. So it was a bit strange. It did raise our concern level as to, why is he acting like this? We're only going to ask him to turn the music down.
We need to speak to you a sec, pal.
Alarm bells start ringing then. If somebody's so hostile towards you, you think, when you've given them no reason to be hostile, you've just literally knocked their door. just trying to get their attention. I think both of us thought, okay, we're dealing with something quite different here now.
We need to speak to you, sir. Can you open the door?
We can help you, mate.
Yeah.
All right, let's get this.
Whoa! Whoa! Now get away!
The door was opened again, and he's been stood at the door with a knife above his head and shouted towards us, right, let's get this fucking sorted then.
Whoa! Now get away! The way from officer was here. There's a male with a knife here.
It all goes mad then. We kind of react when we see the knife. Just try and get out of his way, really, because he looked completely crazed. You know, he looked like he was going to stab either myself or Hannah.
Get away from me!
Fuck off!
Yeah.
Somebody's got a knife. What we're taught in training is to get away as fast as you can. I ended up towards the front of the house. Hannah was in the back garden still.
Get away from me now! Put the knife down!
My immediate concern was for her safety, because he was kind of lunging towards her with this 12-inch kitchen knife.
Whoa! Now get away! The way from officer was here. There's a male with a knife here. Get away from me!
There was another female present, and she was trying to get the chap's attention. I couldn't see my footing underneath me, and I didn't want to turn and expose any part of my body towards the blade.
Get away from me! I told you once, get away!
Fuck off!
What are you doing? Whoa now!
I've drawn my asp, which is my baton, and tried to create distance, but he's taken no notice of this.
Get away from me now! Put the knife down!
I tried to use my radio, but it was so difficult to get my words out to say what had gone on. So in the end, I ended up pressing the red button. You only press it in those situations where you need immediate support. But I didn't hesitate in this particular moment to press it because I thought, oh well, I can't articulate what I want to say over the radio.
Put the knife down! Can you get away? Put the knife down! Can you? I don't care. He's got a knife on him. Put the knife down!
I was then stuck in front of this male, not being able to get around him.
You are a fucking British army!
It was dark. I didn't know if I stood back, what I was going to step on.
Hannah, get back. Okay, we'll leave. We'll leave.
I somehow managed to back step out through the gate.
Do you want to see him?
Get away! Get away!
I took a shot with a parva and I actually managed to get him in the face.
Hannah, get back.
It was quite frightening to be on my own for 10-15 seconds, which isn't a long time, but when you're dealing with an incident like that, it feels like, an hour.
Has he dropped the knife?
Yeah.
Get on your knees. Get on your knees. Get on your knees. Get on your knees. Now!
The parva spray seemed to have an instant effect on him and he kind of dropped to his knees and we were able to get the knife off him and get handcuffs on him,
To reach Officer 010, he's now in handcuffs, so he's detained, okay?
Oh, God.
Fuck you, Grace.
It is a reassuring feeling when your backup arrives. Obviously, dealing with an incident like that, in some cases, officers will take over, pull you to one side and say, are you okay? What do you need? What's happened?
You certainly feel the need for some support and some guidance. I know he's handcuffed, but it was certainly a relief to know that other officers had dropped everything and come to our help,
The morning after, when I had a phone call from the superintendent asking if I was okay, I think that was the awakening then for me to think, oh, that was a really serious incident.
It just flipped over from kind of calm situation to something that was pretty crazy, to be honest with you, in such a short space of time. I really genuinely thought somebody was going to be, hurt or injured. He's had some punishment for it, but I don't know if it's enough punishment to warrant kind of him not doing it again. I wonder if a member of the public was me and it had happened to them, would it have been the same outcome?
The government want to recruit 20,000 new officers before 2023. According to their own data, during the first year of this recruitment drive, they received over 100,000 applications to join.
We are now going to see an increase, and that's very welcome. Our job is to protect the public. Sometimes we have to stand between the person who's offering violence and the public. We need to be equipped and have the staff to do that.
The new officers coming in are, in my view, fantastically keen and enthusiastic. We've just got to teach them the experience in the street and the trade craft to make them safe on the street.
In West Yorkshire, PC Sam Price is one such new officer. He's attached to the local neighbourhood team in Leeds.
I'd done a human rights master's degree, and although I know not a lot of people will think, you know, human rights degree, let's go become a police officer necessarily, but for me, I kind of saw the opportunity to work with people who are quite vulnerable and hopefully make a positive difference to their lives. I like working in Leeds. It's a fantastic city. Lots of people from different cultures, especially in the areas where I work. Neighbourhood policing, it's a very different role to a response officer. I don't have to go to all of the calls which are coming through. I've given a bit more freedom in terms of supporting the community I work in. It's very busy. We get a very high number of calls coming in every day. So there's a constant demand for police to be out there in the communities. I think I was still within my first 10 to 15 weeks of being an officer, so I was given the opportunity to work with response for a couple of weeks to get a flavour of what it was like to be a response officer, and also to gain experience with dealing with those sorts of jobs. Leeds is very busy at the best of times, but especially at Christmas. There's people all over the place in the middle of the street and there's cars everywhere. It's very loud. You can't often hear your radio properly when you're walking around. You have to turn it up to max volume. On the day, I'd actually said to my sergeant from a neighbourhood policing team that I wanted to deal with some conflicts because I hadn't had anything happen to me yet, so I probably jinxed myself. I was working with one colleague. We'd just been to another job in the city centre when a call came through on the radio to say that there was a male inside a store on Albion Street and that he'd urinated up the side of a shop window. On the way there, I decided that I was going to get my black leather gloves out, as I thought I didn't particularly want to have to get hands-on with this chap, and if I did, I didn't really want to touch someone who'd just been weeing up the side of a shop window.
What's going on then? So, public indecency, and he's been verbally and physically aggressive to all the staff. He just urinated all over the floor as well. Right, okay.
He was sat on the ground in the corner of the shop, next to a window, and there was a puddle of what I presume to be wee next to him.
What?
He has been spitting on the windows and then wiping off with his arm and stuff like that as well.
He was quite evasive, but he wasn't aggressive towards us. We asked him what his name was, and he gave us some details which we ran through our systems several times, but we didn't have anything back, and our suspicions gradually grew and grew.
You've been drinking? Yeah.
The more and more we spoke to him, the more and more we were convinced that, you know, we're being provided with false information here.
He's blaming me for something I didn't do.
So what's that down in the corner then?
I don't know. I'm not psychic, sir.
I was asking him why he didn't want to clean up the mess with the mop which the security staff had provided.
Chill out a minute, yeah?
What are you doing is taking my jumper off.
What are you doing?
Taking my jumper off.
Just leave it, right? I'm not asking you to do it with your jumper, am I?
He decided that he was going to take off his, I think it was a hoodie he was wearing, and use that to clean up.
They've asked me to clean it up, so I have.
After, I think it was about a 10-minute period of talking with the guy, he kept providing us the same details again and again, and it got to the stage where my colleague made the decision that if we couldn't establish his name, then we would need to arrest him. We find it a bit odd that you're not coming up on a system, is what I'm saying.
Right. You're under arrest for disorderly behaviour.
Just like that, the chap went from being quite calm and reserved to throwing punches at my colleague. I couldn't quite believe it was happening at first, and so I just did the first thing that I could think of doing, which was just launch myself at this guy and push him away. All hell broke loose.
Stop fighting! Stop fighting!
When he bit me, I kind of realised that this guy was doing everything he could to try and get away from us, to try and hurt us, to try escape.
No! Ah, you're going to slap my wrist! No!
I was really worried because I thought, I'm right in line of sight of him. He's looking at me. I'm going to get spat at if I'm not careful here.
No! Right. Oh.
When I felt it hit my eyes, the first thing I did was close them, and then immediately realised, oh, no, I've got to keep my eyes open, I've got to keep my hands on him. I can't wipe it away.
No, you're not!
I've got to look through it, I've got to live with it dripping down my cheeks, my face and everything. It's horrible. You know, your instincts are to get it off you, to let go.
Right. Oh.
Having that in your eyes it's just disgusting, and it's thick, phlegmy, bubbly, white spit.
No, you're not!
We get spat at, we get bitten on a regular basis. It's common assault.
Down on the ground!
My colleague took a step back to reach for Parva, which is pepper spray, and sprayed him in the face. At that stage, I was able to get a much better control of his arm, and I just screamed out, down on the ground.
1-0.
I'd managed to hit my talk button, because my leather gloves, I couldn't press my code 0 button or any other button. The only button which I could feel was the big one to actually talk, and I'd shouted up, I think I shouted Delta 10, which was our corn sign for the day.
Just on 112. Can I get some assistance, please? Keep going, please!
Thankfully, the control room operator I think they heard the urgency in my voice and came straight back to me, you know, asking what was wrong, and I don't really know what I said, but I must have said words to the effect of, get me some help. In about 60 seconds, we had another police officer there. And that was a massive relief, seeing someone in a bright yellow vest. It's never been more appreciated.
Relax. Look at you. No, just stand down there.
I constantly think back, and I do feel guilty. I didn't get the jump in quick enough, even though maybe I did, but yeah.
Relax, all right? Not like, right, listen. If you spit, you'll end up back face down. Do you understand, mate? Do you understand, mate? Right, I'm going to bring you around into sitting, all right? Do not spit. Understand? Right. Hands off.
Let's roll him round that way and bring him up to sit in that way.
One of the sergeants who works in the city centre came down to, see what was happening, make sure they were OK, and he assisted us with taking that chap down the road to where we had a police van waiting. A lot of the people who had come to help us then had to leave us because I think there was another code zero just down the road from where we had been, so it was like the perfect storm had all come together. I got into the back of the van and was there with the suspect who we just arrested.
Right, if you carry on that way, you're going to get done for criminal damage as well. Do you understand? Right. You damage that van, you'll get done for that as well.
We transported him to custody. He constantly was shouting abuse at me.
You've got my daughter and son. I hope they die.
I'm quite used to getting abuse, even at that early stage of my career. I'd heard most things. We got him to custody. He started spitting all over the floor and carried on shouting abuse at me. He also kicked one of the detention officers. I think it was when we tried to assist him out of the room, he then spat at me again. I think it landed near my eyes, but didn't go in. I spent about 30 seconds thinking, what on earth am I doing? Why have I joined this job? But it's, I'm not one to shy away from doing something that's difficult because I think the reward at the end of it is usually worth it. I didn't believe that there were going to be people out there who, just were, really wanted to harm you. I thought, people had a lot more respect for the police than perhaps they do. I mean, I'm glad he was found guilty of the offence. I think if I have any frustration about the whole thing, it's just that, it doesn't seem to, no matter what we do, it doesn't seem to send home the message. My colleagues and, everyone else is still getting assaulted, despite the fact that people are being found guilty of assaulting emergency workers. It's hard going home and having to tell, your family and the people who you live with, this has happened. I might have contracted hepatitis C, I might have hepatitis B. Whilst the people around you will tell you, it's really unlikely that you've caught anything, that doesn't really help you in the then and there. There's nothing anyone can say to you when this has happened which makes it okay. You're fine, but you're not fine, really. A few months later, I found out that I hadn't, but it wasn't the best having to wait that long to find that information out.